Hello, 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 hello. 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 How's everyone doing? Alright, so today, I'm gonna watch a few videos. I have not... Well, the first two videos I haven't seen, the last one I have, but that one's gonna be a lot different than the first two. So, we'll start watching the first ones, and yeah, I mean, I guess you can already tell by the title what the first two are. The Mario movie trailer, which I can only imagine how this is going to go, and then the Pokemon trailer. I saw the Giraffe Evolution. I thought that was pretty cool. So that's all I really know, though. But all right, without further ado, let's start streaming my desktop. All right, and here we go. All right. Seems pretty intense so far. Doesn't seem like I mean, it's clearly Bowser. Okay, it does seem like kind of like Mario.
Behold, the king of the Koopas!
This actually seems kind of cool.
Open the gates!
Is that Jack Black, right? Jack Black's the one playing Bowser? I mean, these penguins are cute. These sky-ass looking penguins. Oh, they're supposed to be like the penguins from like Super Mario 64.
That is but a taste of our fury. Do you yield?
I do not.
What the hell? This is kind of cool.
I finally found it. Now who's gonna stop me?
The animation looks kind of weird, but it is what it is.
What is this place?
It's got that Lego movie lighting.
Do not touch that mushroom, you'll die! Oh, I'm sorry. That one's perfectly fine. Come on, Mario!
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
Oh no. Oh no. I think what's gonna bother me the most about this movie is definitely the Chris Pratt selection. I think everyone else is going to be fine. I think he's going to be the hard one. Because the thing about him is that when he's like this part.
That mushroom, you'll die! Oh, I'm sorry. That one's perfectly fine. Come on, Mario!
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
It's like Mushroom Kingdom, here we come. But he was supposed to say, here we go, right? Like, it was supposed to be, here we go. Like, that's clearly what this sound... It's what this sound like. It's what I thought he was going to say. I was like, is he going to say, here we go? Or can he say, here we come?
Kingdom, here we come.
But, you know, his voice also doesn't sound right. But this cute. The Bowser penguin thing, that was pretty cute. Well, let's hear his voice again. I don't know if I didn't really pay attention to it. Or did they just not really make him have a sound?
What is this place?
Do not touch that mushroom, you'll die! Oh, I'm sorry. That one's perfectly fine. Come on, Mario!
I wonder if, like...
Mushroom Kingdom,
Because it sounds like he's gonna have, like, a very slight Italian accent. It just seems weird. I don't know. Alright. That's the first video. I'll probably go see it. It doesn't seem like it's gonna be... People are acting like it's gonna be, like, the worst movie that's ever been made, but I don't think that's the case. It seems like it was perfectly, like... fine. Okay. And now, let's start watching the Pokemon trailer from today.
Alright everyone, it's almost time to begin your journeys in the Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet games. Are you ready? You'll get to catch Pokemon, raise them, and battle them, as you embark on an adventure where the familiar charms of the Pokemon series evolve into a new experience. As a student at an academy in the Paldea region, you'll take part in an independent study program called the Treasure Hunt. And you'll search this vast world for a precious treasure of your very
It's
own.
the voice I get from
But
him.
hey, at this point, you probably knew all that already, right? Here's something we hope even you well-informed viewers will enjoy. A sneak peek at 4 particular trainers' journeys in Paldea. Now, let the adventures begin! This trainer is battling a Pokemon called Lechonk. Lechonk is a gourmand. It's proud of its nose, which it uses to sniff out delicious food.
He's the S-tier Pokemon.
Oh, look! Quaxly terastallized.
This changes their type, right?
Terastallizing is a phenomenon unique to the Paldea region, but all Pokemon can do it. It
Just
adds
dumb.
extra punch to moves of the Pokemon's Terra type.
Which is weird, because like his Terra type was Ice or something, right? But he didn't look icy, and
What's
he
that
didn't.
over there?
He's an Ice
Is
attack.
that a glowing Pokemon? It seems to be a Jigglypuff. But why is it shining so bright? Better approach it slowly and start a battle. Whoa! It terastallized! Looks like this Jigglypuff has the water type for its Terra type. Apparently these sparkly wild Pokemon will terastallize in battle.
So, is that like, is that snowflake-looking shape just the default shape for terastallizing? It's meant to look more like just a general crystal
This
structure or
Jigglypuff
something?
seems pretty tough. But Quaxly's strong too. Dealing enough damage to a wild Terra Pokemon causes its terastallization to come undone. Now, throw a Pokeball! Nice! The wild Jigglypuff was caught! Some Pokemon, like this Jigglypuff, have a Terra type completely different from their regular type. Any
that-
Pokemon is
that seems kinda
capable
like
of having
shitty though,
any
doesn't
of
it?
the 18 different types as its Terra type.
Like, doesn't it? It'd be like, oh, I got
What's
this Charizard. It's got like
Quaxly's
a
out
water
there in the
Terra
world,
type,
charging
so
straight
it's
toward
useless.
that
You're
Litleo.
saying?
Looks like Quaxly battled Litleo on its own and won. That's because the trainer gave Quaxly the Let's Go command.
which just seems weird.
Using Let's Go will send your lead Pokemon out onto the field to battle.
What a great death animation.
If a Pokemon gets sent out toward an item, it'll go pick it up. Just like Quaxley here. What a
Just
useful
like
command
in
for searching your
Pokemon Legends
surroundings.
Arceus.
These Pokemon are so helpful, giving their all for their partner. Next, the trainer opens his map to see where he wants to go. You can set a place as your destination to keep yourself on track as you go.
That's good.
Then we can hop atop the legendary Pokemon Miraidon and get going.
So, like,
And what have we here?
I still don't
It's a
understand.
base
Do you get them
belonging
right
to
off the
Team
bat? Do you get the
Star,
legendary
the
Pokemon
school
right off the bat?
troublemakers. Starfall Street, one of the 3 major stories that will make up your Paldean adventures, will unfold in bases like this one. Time to face Team Star. Our trainer rang the bell and barged into the base. That takes some guts. But things
It does
look
feel like
bad.
the point of
There
this
are
game
lots
is to
of grunts
reinvent the
around,
series,
and they
though,
keep
right?
sending out Pokemon. They just
Like it kind
won't
of said
quit
when the
blocking
first ones
way.
came out,
We'll need to
Team
use
like
Let's Go to
Scarlet
defeat
version,
Team
Violet
Star's
version,
Pokemon.
those are usually considered like colors of
There
red
we
and blue.
go. All the grunts have
Um,
been defeated at last.
And I don't know if I
Oh,
ever took
wait.
note of this, but the fact that your
Is that
enemy's
some
called
kind of
Team
tricked out
Star
car?
when the original one's called Team Rocket.
It is.
I mean,
And
there's
atop
also
it
Team
is Mela,
Galactic,
the
but
boss of Team Star's fire crew.
we'll just pretend like that isn't the case.
She's obviously tough. It's easy to see why she's a boss.
But it does seem to point to that. Again, I think it's
Time
because
for
this is
these
supposed to be like
trained-up
reinventing
Pokemon
the
to
series, which is good.
You'll have to
But
wait for your own adventure
I-
to see how a battle like
I don't
this
know.
plays
I hope
out.
there's more homages to Red
Now,
and Blue.
let's check in on
There
another
won't be,
trainer.
but
How's her
I
adventure
wish
going?
there were, but there's not going to be.
Aha! She's using the TM machine at a Pokemon Center. The TM machine lets you make your own TMs, also known as technical machines, using materials Pokemon drop when you defeat or catch them.
Because every game needs crafting. We need crafting. If Minecraft taught us anything, we need crafting.
Now, where will she go next?
The game doesn't have crafting. Is it even a game?
Seems to be a desert-like area under a blazing sun. Just looking at it is enough to make you thirsty. Oh, her Rotom phone is ringing. Sounds like Arvin, her friend in the next grade up, needs some help.
Jesus Christ.
To give Arvin a hand, the trainer's headed to a rock face where a Titan lurks. This is one of the stops on the Path of Legend, a story where you'll seek out legendary herbs called Herba Mystica. There it is, a gigantic Titan Pokemon. Time to battle. Right off the bat, there's Icy Wind, the move our trainer taught Drifloon earlier. Icy Wind lowered the Titan Cloth's speed stat. Drifloon terastallized to become a grass type.
The
This is
terastallizing
Terrablast,
looks
a
like
new
you're
move
making
that
like
changes
look
type
it
to
looks
match the user's
too much like
Terra type when the
ice.
user is terastallized. It ought to be handy for a Pokemon with a Terra type different from its regular types. Looks like Cloth suddenly got somewhere else to be. Wait, what's our trainer doing now of all times? Looks like she's taking a little break from adventuring to trade Pokemon with a friend. And over here, her trade partner has received Girafarig. Seems like she immediately added Girafarig to her team, and she's gonna let it run around in the field and train up for some battles. Oh,
The Giraffe
could
evolution is
Girafarig
pretty
be evolving?
neat.
hang on.
I think it's
Did
cute.
its tail become its head? Or is its head wearing its tail? What an unexpected evolution! Seems like Girafarig has evolved into Farigiraf. In
Did
the
its
Paldea
tail become
region's
its head,
Pokedex,
or is its
you
head
can see
wearing its
photos
tail?
of Pokemon
They try to
as
make
well
that
as
sound like that's
information
backwards,
about
but it's
them,
really
so you can get to know them
not.
even better.
It's more or less the same thing.
Let's check out the
But I
town
like
of
that design.
Artisan
The design's
next.
pretty good.
It looks like one big park. Now that the trainer's Pokemon have gotten stronger, it seems she's made her way to a gym. She's following Victory Road, the story where you'll conquer all 8 gyms to achieve champion rank. Nimona, the battle-loving trainer who'll show you the ropes, is all fired up. Before you can battle a gym leader, you'll first have to pass the gym test at their gym. Better get started right
Gym
away.
test 1. What
All
frame
right,
rate are these
that's the
sunflowers
gym
running
test
at?
passed. Time to battle the gym leader. Here comes Gracias, the grass-type gym leader, with a striking entry.
That's not a grass type, that's a rock type.
Whoa!
That
Pseudo-Wudo terastallized and became a grass type.
That Pseudo-Wudo probably has serious self-identity problems now. Because the point of it is to
gonna be
fake
okay,
being a
Fido?
grass type.
How's our trainer gonna handle this one? Aha! She's gonna fight back by having her own Pokemon terastallize. Fido became a flying type. That should give it an edge against this grass-type Pseudo-Wudo. No matter who or what you're up against, with some smart terastallizing, you'll have nothing to fear.
Terastallizing
I
is
can't
so
wait to see
freaking
how
random.
battles will unfold
That's like a
between
concept.
terastallized Pokemon. This trainer's heading into a hair salon to spice things up.
Because who needs Pokemon in a Pokemon
Wow,
game?
look at all these options. How are you supposed to choose?
With the cursor.
Huh. I kind of want to try that hairstyle too. And now to complete the look. Plenty to choose from here too. I feel like I could spend all day on this.
Wait, you can just do that? Like,
And while you're trying out all sorts of styles,
Oh,
you can whip out
shit.
the camera app
we
and
got
go
selfies.
Snap, snap, snap. Looks like this trainer
They're really
found
getting the most
perfect
important
style.
features from
Line up a
Legend of
good
Zelda.
shot and snap. Now they've updated their profile picture. Looking back on photos you've taken of scenic vistas or memorable moments with beloved Pokemon is just one more way to enjoy your adventure. And now it's picnic time with Pokemon. When Pokemon have gotten dirty from a long journey, a nice scrub and shower gets them all clean. Looks like it feels nice too. Before having lunch, Pokemon can get out some energy by playing with a ball.
God, if you
You
would
can
watch
just
this.
tell how much
if you
fun
don't,
they're
like, if this were to be
having.
any other game and you didn't know it's Pokemon, you wouldn't think this is the most expensive franchise in human
Oh
history.
wow, could this be a Pokemon egg? Apparently, eggs can sometimes be found during picnics.
What? Why?
And now the moment
Is
we've
the
been waiting
implication that they were
for,
gonna be
sandwich
eaten?
time. This trainer came prepared with plenty of ingredients they bought in town. It can be tough deciding which sandwich to make.
Oh yes, ham.
This one may
Proof
be a
that
little overstuffed. It might not hold together.
like we eat Pokemon in this world, or we eat, or there's actually animals. What is the point of this?
Just gotta put the bread on top.
What does this
and
have to do with
finish it off a
Pokemon?
pick. Done. Let's see how it tastes. Oh, looks like it's a hit with everyone. Eating sandwiches can give you benefits like making certain types of Pokemon easier to catch or making your Pokemon gain more experience points. Time for a
Interesting.
group photo with these satisfied Pokemon. Where to go
I don't know why it would
next?
give them experience
Oh, hey,
points, but
looks like more of our trainer friends have shown up. All right, they're gonna take on a Terra Raid battle. Can these trainers work together to defeat the
software
Terra
update
Pokemon before
required, because
time
we've
runs
already
out?
shipped this game without it being completed.
Their opponent is a Chansey that's terastallized into a ghost type. What kind of fight will the strong, sparkling Chansey put up?
Who knows? Who cares?
It's really powerful. These trainers better
so
stay determined,
powerful. What
band
will they
together, and strike
do?
back.
Feels like it probably would have benefited the Chansey more to have
If
just
your
stayed a
Pokemon
normal
gets
type.
knocked out in a Terra Raid
Normal
battle,
fairy
don't
type,
worry.
right?
It can recover and rejoin the fray. Hang in there, Sableye. Along with using your Pokemon's
Wiggly
moves,
Tuck used to
you
play
also have the
rough.
option to support your allies by cheering.
Oh,
It's
great.
all about teamwork. Watch how the battle's going and decide how you'll handle the fight and work with your fellow trainers.
Wait, that's only
Almost
in.
there. Keep it up.
That's only in like these raid battles, right? Still, even for that, it's dumb. But it's like, okay, so all those attacks that increase stats, might as well not use them because cheering's probably going to be more effective. Like, what?
Oh wow! That was a beautiful Terra Raid battle victory.
That
And
Chansey
with it
looks
comes
so
the chance
happy to be
catch
destroyed.
This Terra Pokemon. When you join forces to win your battles, the bonds between friends and Pokemon shine even brighter.
What does that mean? So who gets it?
All
pops
right,
out.
that Chansey with a rare Terra type is now part of the team. So, what'd you think? While you were getting a look at these 4 trainers' journeys, did you spot a glimmer of something that could become your personal treasure? Encounters with Titan Pokemon? Face-offs with Team Star? Taking on gyms? There's plenty more to be
I don't
said
like this
about
approach
all
on the
these
music
things.
either.
Of
There, I
course.
said it.
What you
Is
just
this,
saw was
Toby
only
Fox
a
made
glimpse of
this
the
song?
adventures awaiting you in the Paldea region.
I don't think so, right? Toby
Which
Fox makes
Pokemon will you
cooler
choose?
songs than this,
Who
I
will you
think.
meet? What sort of exciting adventures will you have? It's all up to you. Your adventures are right around the corner. May they shine bright.
See what happens. I'm not, I don't think it's gonna be better than Pokemon Legends Arceus, but hey, we'll see. Okay. So, yes, I like, all those things. So, the next thing that we're gonna watch is gonna be, way different than the last 2 things we watched. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch a, video. It's, of this person who is, a second. So we're gonna watch a video of this guy who is known as a pretty infamous stalker in the K-pop community, which I know this sounds really random. I mean, people know I like K-pop, but it still sounds random even for like what I do. And basically what happens is I'll give you a brief summary of this guy. So basically this guy fell in love with one of the members of Twice. Her name's Nayeon. She's the oldest member. He fell in love with her in like 2016 or something. In 2019, he started his own YouTube channel. You know, let's actually pull that up. Just to do all that we can. Oh, son of a bitch. The wrong button. So here's this guy's YouTube channel. If I could, oh my god, why am I so bad? Oh, I need to rearrange these. Let's move these up. Okay, there we go. I need to delete these ones I don't need. I don't need this. Yep, delete that. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I'll just move this to the top. There we go. Okay. So this is his channel. As you can probably see, it's pretty deranged. No, but he, as you can see, like, this guy appears to, have posted a lot of videos, basically in, like, this vlog format of how he's, trying to find, Nayeon, fall in love with her. It's all sweet, right? You think, like, oh, that's, like, an internet person thing. Well, if we start watching the videos, starting with this one from 2019, basically he started going to, you know, locations where
a few months ago. So I don't know
Nayeon has been spotted and is basically trying to find her, like, in person. Now, there's a lot more context things that have gone on. He's basically showed up on one of their on a time when they were, like, traveling on a plane. He tried to interact with them on there, but then he got tackled by managers. He released another member's phone number of the band, and it's and yeah. There was also an instance where, oh, you'll see it. You'll see with what we're about to watch. So what we're going to watch is an interview that this YouTuber Ploopy678, her name's like Evangeline or something like that. I'd never heard of her before, but she seems to have like a relatively decent following, like 209,000 subscribers, definitely a lot more subscribers than I have. And she decides to interview this guy, and be it. But what we're gonna do is, instead of just having it up the entire time, because it's literally just them talking, and it's pretty much just a large video of like his webcam. I'll be playing Minecraft, and I'll be playing the video in the background. So let's start Minecraft, and then we will get right to it. See. All right. So now that we've got that updated, let us get the video going. And here we go. Also, if it sounds weird, it's because she sped it up, and then indicated that you have to like slow it down, in order to I don't know why. It could be for some algorithm stuff. I have no clue. But here we go. So it might sound a little funky. Yeah, of course it sounds funky. So there's no fucking audio. Okay, give me a second. Oh God. Opened my Outlook on accident. I'm a mess right now. All right, here we go.
You, Josh.
Yeah, I'm Josh, and I am now back in South Korea, as some people might know.
Right, would you like to say like where you're from and how old you are?
Yeah, I am from Germany. I grew up in
Also,
Germany.
just a heads up. She like edited the video, but also like posted the full interview. Like afterwards, we're watching the full interview. I don't want this guy to be taken out of context because yeah, let's just hear the whole thing.
And I am 27 years old. That's like 29 years in Korean age, I think.
Yes.
And yeah.
Okay, cool. So first we're gonna go through the timeline of everything that happened because as you mentioned, there's like some news that you don't agree with, etc. So I want to give you a chance to explain like your side of the story regarding all the events. So let's start before you even liked Twice. So were you in any relationships before?
Not really. Well, just some not so serious school relationship. Nothing serious.
Oh, right. So like short-term stuff. So like this is like your first like true.
Nothing serious. Yeah, exactly. That's the first serious love.
Okay,
yeah.
so why don't you tell us about how you first liked Nayeon? Like, how did you first find out about her, and when did you start to develop feelings for her?
The first time was like 2016, I think. I saw stuff on YouTube. I wasn't really interested in K-pop, but I was interested in different cultures because I just wanted to see how different cultures see different, just how they act and stuff like that. And then I saw a radio interview of Twice and Nayeon, and at first I didn't really, I never had the intention of falling in love or something like that, but I was interested in their culture. And then I think it was in early 2017 that they went to Switzerland, and I found it very interesting because they were from Korea and Switzerland is close to where I live, and it was interesting to see them being in Switzerland.
So I'm not sure if you can tell yet, although I'm sure you can. He's sort of lacking like what feels like logical, not logical consistency, but he's sort of like making these really weird jumps. Like You know, I was listening to them, and I didn't mean to fall in love with them, but I was just trying to like listen to like learn about a new culture. But you know, like I'll just like keep going.
Switzerland and be confronted with the culture in Switzerland and how they think of Switzerland and stuff like that. So I watched that just out of cultural interest, not out of K-pop interest.
Right.
And yeah, and over time, it was just Nayeon's personality that I developed feelings for Nayeon. And I
Also, you don't watch you're not watching the Twice in Switzerland stuff because you want to learn how Asians, because there are Japanese, Taiwanese, and Koreans in the group. You're not watching it to to learn how what their impression of Switzerland is. Like, how does this culture interpret Switzerland? No, you're watching it because they're cute AF. That's why you're doing it. That's why I did it. All right.
She wants the boyfriend to come quickly, like she said in Korean. There was like a video message to future boyfriend and stuff like that. And also then later in TV shows, she said as soon as the dating was over, she wants to go to a lot of blind dates and stuff like that. And then I also hear that she had a crush on Tony Stark, which is the Robert Downey Jr., the actor of Iron Man in Avengers. And I was like, okay, maybe maybe she will like it because she's looking for a boyfriend. She's not racist or anything like that because she has a crush on this white actor because he's a white male. And I thought, okay, so if I try it online somehow, it will be really difficult to reach her. And I already knew where the company is because of the company address and stuff like that. I thought, okay, maybe if I go to South Korea, maybe if I go to the company, maybe if I go to places where Nayeon has been, maybe there's a chance that I can confess my feelings to Nayeon and tell her and show her that I truly love her. So then I took all my courage together and I was like, okay, I fly to South Korea now. And I asked friends if they want to come with me because I was a little bit scared to travel alone, but all my friends had other things to do and they didn't really come with me, which was kind of sad.
No, you're watching me. You're watching me watch an interview. Interview in quotes. It becomes a lot more of like a debate, and this girl constantly goes back and forth whether or not the intent was for it to be an interview or a debate. It feels like the intent was for it to be a debate. But yeah, something I want to add is I think this guy's like talking about he's talking about like his fear of planes to make it seem like when he flew to Korea it was a lot more noble than it actually was, when it really wasn't. It was just well, I'll let him continue.
And then I just went along to South Korea in October 2019,
Yes.
like almost 3 years ago.
Right, so
That's the
actually
thing.
that brings us to like the first YouTube video, right, which was in October of 2019.
Answer is not yes.
Exactly. That was when I was in Korea and I thought that I never have to go public. I thought I can do this privately because I don't really plan on being a public figure, and if I am a public figure, I
There's
want to
one
do
less
something related to
nested
science and technology.
Right, I saw
I don't
person
really-
watching another
I
person.
don't want to be a public figure in the K-pop industry. And so I thought, okay, I would go to the company, I will try to go to places where Nayeon has been, maybe neighbors and stuff like that, and ask them if they can help me to confess my feelings to Nayeon, show her that I actually love her. But when all these things
Can you do a live view of the new Pokemon gameplay? I can't tell if you're serious or not. Because if you want that, then pull up my stream on YouTube and go back like 10 minutes.
failed, I only stayed for 3 weeks back then. I was like, okay, and still hadn't been able to confess my feelings to Nayeon. What do I do now? I have to somehow find a way to show Nayeon that I really love her, and the only option left was, hey, what if I make a video showing that I'm here in Korea, that I came all the way to South Korea because I wanted to confess my feelings for Nayeon, that I show that I'm here in her neighborhood and at the company and stuff like that. And that way maybe she will see, oh, this guy, he really is serious about it. He came all the way to South Korea.
Yeah,
He
you
must
want to see
really
that?
love me,
Start like just go
and
from the start of the
yeah, that's
stream
when
because I also
uploaded
reviewed the
video.
Mario Brothers
And
trailer.
that's when things kind of turned into a very bad way for me, because a lot of YouTubers started to make fake news and drama.
Okay,
And
so
they
before,
started
before we
calling
get to
me-
that, right? Sorry, before we
Yeah.
get to that, I just wanted to ask, like, when you uploaded your YouTube video, what sort of response were you anticipating from your viewers? Like, did you think that you were going to get netizens who were willing to help you, or like, what were you trying to?
Well, I can answer this question very well. Initially I am only usually in the science community and in the engineering community, technology community. And also, I only hang out with people at my age, so I have no idea what people that are younger than me do and stuff like that. So I anticipated a mature response, an adult response. I anticipated.
Well, I appreciate that. you'd watch it, because if I did it, I appreciate that.
And there are a lot of people who say, hey, we're going to help you, Josh. Wow, that's amazing that you are showing the love to Nayeon, and we're going to help you. That's so romantic. That's so nice. I ship you with Nayeon, stuff like that. And I really anticipated a lot of support for what I did. And then when I saw what actually happened, that there were YouTubers who used me for attention. They used me. They made drama. They made fake news headlines.
Probably the most deranged thing that this man says, is what he just said, which is, you know, when I went on the internet, I wasn't expecting people to be mean and childish. It's like, I'm just used to the engineering community where everyone's just nice, which I also imagine they're not nice. I just imagine that they just don't talk to each other much, but...
Nice, so that they got more attention, to gain more viewers, to gain more subscribers, to gain more ad revenue, and even some websites started using me and made headlines like clickbait headlines, fake news and stuff like that to create drama and to attract more and more viewers, so that they gain more and more ad revenue, and they basically used me. And also a lot of fans, a lot of K-pop fans, they are quite young and they were quite jealous, because back then I didn't realize what the K-pop industry does to some extent, because what the K-pop industry does to some extent, especially in Twice, is they partially not just sell music and entertainment, but they also to some extent sell love and friendship to the fan, and that's also why there are dating ones and stuff like that, so that the fans don't get jealous when the idol starts dating. But I didn't know about this at all, and so I was confronted with people who made fake news, who made headlines, trying to get attention, and also I was confronted with jealous fans who literally told me like things like, leave Nayeon alone, Nayeon belongs only to me, and stuff like that.
How to talk to me on YouTube? What do you mean? Go on YouTube and type in the chat. What do you mean? Like on a, I don't know, on a mobile phone, I'm not sure how. On a computer, you just type in the chat. I'm assuming that there's a chat accessible in the YouTube. I mean, just
which is ridiculous.
Figure it out. You're a smart kid. I don't know.
They were the actual obsessed fans, and they sort of projected on themselves, and that's why they thought that I
doesn't see a chat
some kind of obsessed
on
person, which I am not. I truly love Nayeon, and yeah, then I realized, whoa, hold on a second.
All right, 1 second.
On themselves, and that's why they thought that I
Doesn't see a chat. So the chat's right here. If it's on a, I don't know how it works on a phone, but on the computer it's right here. You're literally watching me watch myself watch someone while they're debating someone else that they're watching. Okay.
I think that's completely crazy what's going on.
Okay, so we'll get more into these hate comments later, because that's like a separate section. So right now we're just kind of go through the timeline, right? Okay, so anyways, you got a lot of hate, but then this didn't stop, right? So actually you continue to make efforts to get to know Nayeon. And actually this brings me to January of 2020, where you actually boarded the same flight as Twice. And so this made headline news. So can you tell us about like what happened from your perspective? Like all the way from, actually, can you start from how you found out about your flight details?
So this is what I was talking about, where he
Japan to go to.
He boarded their plane.
Okay, so because I got a lot of, there were a lot of headlines about me, a lot of fake news, I got a lot of messages. And I'm a person, I usually try to answer everyone, because I try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, because I'm like, okay, even if there are 90% of haters that hate me, maybe there are 10% of supporters.
Francesco, you love this guy, he's like insane. It's like scary, but he's like real, so that makes it more interesting, I guess.
Or if they are supporters, then obviously I text them, and it was one of the supporters who texted me and told me about the flight that Twice would take to Japan, but I was not sure if this guy was actually lying or not, because he just told me the flight information. And I was like, okay, I will do it like this. I will go to Korea airport, to the Gimpo airport, and I will check if Twice will actually fly it that day. And if it's true, then the return flight must be true as well. And when I realized, okay, if it's true, the information that I got is correct, I was like, okay, now I know that they will be at the return flight from Tokyo back to Seoul. I was like, okay, I have to book a flight now as soon as possible to Tokyo, and then book the same return flight as them, so that I am in the same flight as Nayeon,
Oh, so
which
you
was
first-
quite, yeah.
So you first went to Korea to the airport to find out about their flight details. So you flew to Korea and then you flew to Japan.
Actually, I went to Gimpo, I waited there and waited if twice actually comes at the time that the guy said. And when they came, I knew, okay, the flights have to be true. That's why the
Flew to
return
Korea
flight has to be true as
to
well.
learn that he could
And,
fly to Japan.
That's when I, yeah, that's when I
run into a member
realized,
of
okay, I have to
twice.
book a flight to Japan now, which was quite expensive, and it was very, very stressful and very, very difficult to do, because I first tried to book it online, and there were so many errors that in the end, I didn't sleep at all. I went to a taxi, and I took a taxi to the Gimpo airport, and I got my flight tickets at the Gimpo airport. Then I drove back to my hotel, and then I basically, the next day I went to Japan right away. And in Japan I also didn't sleep, because I wanted to be on the return flight so bad, and I didn't know because I booked like a one-day apartment in Japan, and I wasn't sure if I'd make it to the airport in time. So just to be safe, I thought, okay, I will go earlier. So I went 3 a.m. in the morning to the airport back to Tokyo, so that I'm 100% at the same flight. Yeah, it was really stressful days for me. It was a lot of work.
Very
and it cost me a lot
stressful,
of money
the day
because
that I
also had to book business class, so that I am actually with Nayeon there in
nearly
business
got on a
class,
plane with
which is also
someone
kind of
and
expensive because I booked it
scared the
like
hell out of them.
last minute, so to speak, last minute business class. And yeah, and then I finally were able to confess my feelings to Nayeon during that flight. Yeah.
And then you said that you basically, I watched your video about what you said happened. So you took the letters out of your bag and then you walked towards Jonghyun and Nayeon's row, right? And you tried to give it to her, but before you could even finish your sentence, some managers tackled you to the ground, right? So can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, that's funny. The managers tried to tackle me on the ground, but obviously they couldn't, because they are kind of small and stuff like that. I don't have anything against small people, like I don't want to sound rude against small people, but these managers, they are kind of a joke. And they tried to jump on me, tried to put on the ground, something like that, which was kind of ridiculous. It almost reminded me of like a kindergarten. Like literally, I felt like I am in a kindergarten right now, because I'm an adult, I'm mature, and I'm used to have adults around me. And to get a response like this, that the managers jump on me, is so childish of them. And it's so crazy to me, actually. It's like a culture shock almost, because I'm not used to such childish behavior. But anyway, so I took my letters out mid-flight, and I waited for the right time. So, and then it was just like 2 steps, because I said, very close to Nayeon and Jonghyun, and then I went to Nayeon, and I was like, Nayeon, which means like, Nayeon, could you please read the letter? And the moment I said that, the manager jumped on me, and I was like, I almost felt like a movie, and I was like, don't touch me, because I was like, dude, what is this kindergarten here? I'm trying to confess my feelings right now, and you guys are acting up like, I don't know, like children. And it was a little bit weird, and then they kept
what's
being
weird
loud.
to me
They
is that
tried
like
to make
he
it
doesn't
impossible for me
like
to communicate
like
with Nayeon, because
okay, I get it, where it's like he's like, oh well, it's like, why were the managers tackling me? I was trying to confess my love. Yeah, but like you do understand that they're there to like protect like the members, right? Like even if you think that what you're doing is justified, you got to at least understand that from their perspective it's reasonable to be like, you know, maybe we need to make sure that he doesn't get close to them, because we are effectively their bodyguards, so it's our job to make sure that you don't get close to them. And if you thought it was okay, like maybe if you're not a threat, like maybe you should have come to us first or something. But you knew, or at least I think, he probably had an understanding that if he tried to just go and ask the managers, hey, can I talk to Twice, he knew they'd say no. But he probably also feels there's no other option, so.
Then I said, 나는 stalker 아니다. 나는 너를 진심으로 사랑해, which means like, I'm not a stalker. I truly love you. Like I wanted to make
always
sure
great
that
when
she
your
knows
first words
that
to someone are, "I am
intentions,
not
that
a
I'm not a
stalker."
stalker and that I truly love her. And I tried to communicate this to her over and over again. But the managers, they kept yelling, no, which they had the intention to make it impossible for me to communicate with Nayeon. But because the managers were so loud, and the managers were like, no, and the managers, they created this drama, they jumped on me, they kept being loud. Then the flight assistants came, and they were like, what's going on here? And then they scolded the managers, and then the managers tried to lie to the flight assistants, trying to make me look like I caused this drama, trying to make me look like I'm the bad person, when in reality, I went calmly to Nayeon, I tried to calmly confess my feelings to her, I never had any drama intended, but the managers were those who stood up, who jumped on me, who created all this drama, who kept being loud, who tried to make it impossible for me to communicate with Nayeon, and it's sort of crazy. But yeah, and then I made sure that Nayeon got my letters, I made sure that the managers did not take the letters away from Nayeon, And then I was pretty sure, like, okay, she has the letters now, she has my contact information now. Now I just have to wait and see what her response is, because either her response is, hey, Josh, look, that's kind of cute of you that you love me, but I'm busy with my work, or I have other intentions. I'm so sorry that I baited you to come to South Korea. I'm so sorry that I pretended that I want a boyfriend, because that's literally what she said a lot of times, that she wants a boyfriend. And she could have said, like, oh, I'm so sorry, Josh, that I baited you into this situation. I can maybe repay you the flights that you took, because I'm so sorry that I baited you into thinking that I'm available and stuff like that. Like, and then she could have rejected me or something like that. Or she could have...
And to be clear, she never quote unquote baited him. What he's referring to is that, like, when they're like doing like variety shows in Korea and stuff, they'll say things like they'll get like questions like, oh, if you could have a boyfriend, like what qualities would you like, or like you know, all this sort of stuff. And that's sort of like what he's interpreting is that. So yeah, it's not like she made any direct communication with him. Yeah, it's weird. It gets
said,
weirder.
Oh, that's good of you, Josh. Of course, I love you back, and we can date. Or she could have said, just wait a little bit, Josh. It's not the right time. We can date, but maybe in 5 years from now, when I'm out of the theoretical entertainment contract, like, she could have communicated a lot of things to me, but instead I got nothing. I got nothing communicated back to her, from her, and I got more and more worried day by day. And I also wanted to go back to Germany because I had stuff to do in Germany as well. And at the end of January, I went back to Germany, and I also then got Cheong's number, and I couldn't call Cheong from Germany because I was already back in Germany that day. And then I
also, that weird stuttering noise that happens, that's her typing on her keyboard.
For some reason,
it's very loud.
I'm only surrounded by adults, by mature people, and that's why I leaked the number, because I thought the other people who see this have good intention as well, and they're trying to help me, they're trying to help Nayeon, they're trying to help Cheong. But instead, these fans, these children, they instead used that number to harass Cheong. They tried to call Cheong, and they harassed Cheong over and over again, and then Cheong...
So yeah, he got the phone number of one of the members off, I don't know, like the dark web or something. I don't know how you get that. I read a while ago that apparently, like, in some fan circles, like, their phone numbers and stuff, like, get around, like, a lot. That's interesting. I don't know how that's a thing, but yeah. I mean, I can imagine how someone could leak a phone number, but
obviously got mad at me.
That's what he's talking about. He
leaked her number, and if I would not have leaked
right, he leaked her phone number because he thought, well, if I leak her phone number, people will reach out to her and tell her that I love one of her bandmates. Because, yeah.
Cheong's number, then Cheong would not have gotten harassed from these children, from these evil children. And I didn't know that because, as I said, I'm usually used to have only adults around me, mature people. I'm not used to having to deal with evil children that have bad intentions and stuff like that. That's why, it was more or less an accident that I leaked the number. I had never the intention to harass Cheong by leaking her number or anything like that. I always had good intentions. And
But
I made an
wanted to
apology
add that
video.
even- Sorry, but I just wanted to add that
Yeah.
even if nobody harassed Chaeyoung, like, at the end of the day, it's reasonable for people to not want their number to be leaked because it is
Yes.
personal information. So I think, of course, those kids shouldn't have harassed Chaeyoung if they had her number, but
Yeah.
you also have to take some responsibility for the fact that you...
Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, the problem is I'm not usually surrounded by normal people. I'm usually surrounded by very smart people. And that's why sometimes it's difficult for me to act accordingly, like, for example, leaking a number, for example, like that. To me, in my surroundings, where everyone is smart, leaking a number is not a problem because everyone knows how to deal with that and respect with that and have respect for the number and stuff like that. But in children, especially, when you have to deal with children, as I said, I had no idea that this happens. They will be very toxic. They will harass people. They will use this number to harass. And yeah, I learned my lesson. I was like, okay, I have to be careful. I also at first didn't understand why Twice needs security guards at the airport. Because I was like, why do they need security guards for? That makes no sense. But then eventually I realized, oh, a lot of these children are actually really bad. And they need to be protected from these children. And I'm not used to this because, as I said, I'm only usually surrounded by smart people and we don't need this. But
something else that's really interesting is he'll do a lot of like projection. So there's gonna be a lot of times where he's like, and he even did it earlier too, where he's gonna be like, you know, I didn't realize that the reason they have bodyguards is actually because there's a bunch of really bad people that could potentially like assault them. I'm not one of those people though. Like when he described, I think he described K-pop idols already as oh, by the way, like K-pop idols do sort of what they do because it'll you know, they sell friendship is what he said. They sell love and friendship. But with him, it's like, well, they're not selling it to me. They actually mean it to me. It's just interesting.
Yeah, in this case, I guess security is appropriate because these children can be very, very toxic and very bad. I mean, I experienced it myself. The children attack me as well a lot of times.
Okay, so we can get more into this later. So let's continue with the timeline first, because I don't want to like get too off topic.
Okay, so then was February, and I made another update video. Well, I first made an apology video to Nayeon because I realized, oh, damn, that was not my intentions to leak Nayeon's number like that. Like, I never had my intentions, and then I made an apology video. Then after that, a few weeks later, I made another update video in which I explained that I really love Nayeon, that I have no bad intentions, and I'm not sure what exactly I explained. I remember that I explained it a lot.
The apology video that I saw was to Nayeon, not Nayeon, so I'm quite confused.
I think I also made an apology video to Nayeon, which was kind of short, I think, from what I remember. But I also made an apology video to Nayeon, but I never really apologized to Nayeon because I never did something wrong.
Okay.
Because I always have good intentions, right? But I made an apology video for Nayeon in case, like it's not really an apology, it's more like a I'm sorry for the accident.
And that's going to be a common thread too that he says in like his approach to the world. And I think he thinks the difference between him and everyone else that he considers like a troll or a child is that he has good intentions and they don't. Well, that's probably not the case, right? Like, I mean, I do believe that in his worldview he thinks he has good intentions. But I also think that, like, you know, all these people who are quote unquote kids, I don't think all of them are doing it with bad intentions. I think they're doing it because they just don't care. They don't, it's like they're not doing it to be malicious, just for the sake of being malicious. They're probably thinking like, oh, this doesn't actually like impact anyone. They're not doing it to like be mean or be spiteful. They probably all have quote unquote good intentions. I don't think people like go up to like K-pop idols and want them to sign things generally. Not, at least not someone that we would consider like a general fan, which is who he's talking about. He's talking about other people who are fans. He's not talking about like people who are like, you know, going up to them and trying to get them to sign something that, you know, they're just going to sell somewhere. He's talking about other people that he's considering children who fall for the fact that they're, you know, that K-pop idols aren't really your friends and stuff like that. Yeah, but he's not gonna take any responsibility because he's like, well, I have nothing I'm responsible for because I had good intentions. Like that, just because you have good intentions doesn't mean that you don't apologize for things that you do that are wrong. Like, you know, they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions, which is literally, it means exactly what's going on here. Just sometimes you can try to do things that you think are nice, but they aren't always nice. They're actually, sometimes you can do bad things, because that's pretty much true. Almost no one's ever going to do anything because it is a bad thing.
That happened, but it's not my fault. Like, it's really not my fault because I always act with good intentions, and I think 10 times before I do something. And when something bad happens, it's usually not my fault. And I understand that I have to take responsibility for my actions, and I do this a lot. I take all responsibility usually for my actions, but in this case, I really did everything correctly. I was always careful, always with intentions. The only thing that I did wrong was I leaked James' number, which, as I said, was an accident. I apologize. But then at the end of February, I was like, okay, what do I do now? Do I go back to South Korea? Nayeon still has not given me clarity. Remember, for me, what's important is also clarity to know what exactly does Nayeon want me to do? What exactly does she think about me? And if she, for example, hates me or whatever, then is it justified? Is it justified that she hates me, or is she maybe misinformed? Does she maybe have wrong information that was told to her by Nayeon Entertainment or other people, and she doesn't really hate me, but she hates a fake image of me that doesn't really exist?
Okay, so we can talk about this later as well. Sorry.
Okay. So then, to go further with the timeline.
Can I?
To go further, huh?
So at that time, Twice made an Instagram post about the situation, right? So Nayeon made a post on Instagram supposedly.
She was quite angry that I leaked her number. Yeah.
Yes, and also the Instagram story. But then that's asking you to go home. But
Which Instagram story? Wait. About the Instagram story?
Yeah, the one that asked you to go home, but you said the manager post.
No. The story, the Instagram story that asked to go home, that happened before even the flight, before I even confessed to Nayeon, before I ever talked to Nayeon in real life. This Instagram story happened. That means this Instagram story, please go home, cannot be meant towards me because it was tied before I ever confessed my feelings.
For additional context, that story that they're talking about was clearly taken on the plane.
Is directed to an
So if he was on the plane
of
doing this
a
before the
person
plane
that
took
doesn't really
off,
exist. Remember,
it
because
seems unlikely
back
that it
when that story
happened
Please Go Home, Nayeon had no idea who I really am. She had no
before
idea
he
that I am
created
not
a
a stalker. She
scene.
had no idea that I truly love her. She had no idea about this. So that's why the story is really something that cannot be taken seriously. And also, after I confessed my feelings to Nayeon during the flight, so I confessed my feelings and explained the situation later. After that, the story got deleted again. And also, there was no evidence that the story was actually from Nayeon. It could have also been from the manager. But as I said, the story was made before I even confessed, before I even talked to Nayeon, before I even explained the situation. So she could not have known my true self and thus not have given an answer to my true self, because we cannot judge a person that we don't know. It makes no sense.
Right.
And
Question.
yeah, so yeah.
But how did you know that it got deleted once you confessed? Because you guys were in the
Because, wait, I can show you, because I can explain to you, because I had no idea about Instagram stories, because I rarely looked at Instagram stories, but when I came back to the Korean airport, people messaged me about the story and said there was a story, and I checked, and there was no story to be found. I was like, dude, are you guys lying? There's no story. And then a lot of people told me, yeah, they took it down an hour later, and I was like, wait, so okay, they took it down again. Okay, so then I was like, okay, maybe the story came before I confessed. Well, the story came before I confessed. That's just a fact. But then when I confessed, after I confessed, when we landed, the story got removed again.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was from a manager or whatever. But here's the thing: I gave my letter to Nayeon during the flight. On the letter is my contact information, and she can message me by email, Instagram, KakaoTalk, and I fulfill all wishes to her because I really love her. Like, I do everything for her. So if she tells me stay in Germany, I will go back to Germany. Even if she tells me go to Mars, I will build a rocket and I will go to Mars. I will do everything for Niall. But she didn't tell me anything. And
so
I
we'll
check
get
my
more into that
account, my
later.
email,
Okay.
and Instagram every day.
Right. So we'll get into that again later. So anyways, okay, so let's move on. So you
Okay.
said that you
So then-
believe that JYP is actually keeping you and Nayeon apart. So can you, because you also mentioned about the managers and everything, right? So can you tell me about why you think JYP is keeping you and Nayeon apart and what they did that made you think so?
Okay, so it has also to do with the
JYP is
K-pop,
twice in Nayeon's
industry. The
label.
K-pop industry, they are not properly regulated yet. Well, the Korean government is trying to implement better regulations, like for example, that trainees have to be certain applications before they dependent on idols, which not only protects the idols, but it also will cause the idols to be better role models for the children, because usually idols, most of the fans are children, and they look up to their idols, and idols are sort of role models. And there's one regulation that is missing, and that is that idols should not be allowed to sell love and friendship. Because here's the thing, a lot of K-pop companies implement dating bans, but the reason for the dating bans is because the ratings will drop of an idol when the idol starts dating.
Right.
And usually that happens because fans get jealous, and a lot of fans support their idol not just with the usual support that you get in the Western culture, but also some of the people, they really have feelings for the idol. They see the idol as their friend or even more like that. And once the idol starts
He'll
dating,
justify
they are like,
later why
they feel cheated on. They almost feel
that-
betrayed. You can see that in the numbers. The
why
ratings
idols
drop,
are probably
the
better
profits
off
drop,
not making
and
their
once the idol starts
personal
dating,
life
just
public.
the numbers
He's gonna
go
make
down.
that
And
very,
sometimes
very
companies, they say,
apparent.
you know what, we make a dating ban, we keep you single, that way your ratings stay up, and the fans have somewhat of their fantasies with the idol or whatever, or some of the fans at least. And so that's really bad from the K-pop industry, because in the long-term perspective, it is not good, because it's more harm than good, because in long-term perspective, eventually the idol will find a boyfriend or girlfriend, or will make a family, and then inevitably fans will become jealous. So it's never a good idea to sell love and friendship, or to put a price tag on love and friendship. Or there's this app called Bubble from KOK Entertainment, which also puts a price tag on love and friendship, because now people have to pay, like, I don't know what it is, $8 or what a month, to have a chance to talk with their idol or whatever. And it's a little bit of a scam, because they have these hopes to talk with the idol, and they pay money, and then they pay all this money, and they don't get the attention that they want from their idol, and then the idol suddenly starts dating someone, and they're like, that's unfair, I paid so much money to get
Right, so
attention from my idol, and
basically
now that
you're saying
idol
that
gives their attention to someone else for free.
Right, so basically you're saying JYP doesn't want her to date because that will affect her marketability.
And
is
again,
what you're
that's
trying to say.
projection,
So you
but
believe
you'll
It
see
will lower
that
their
soon.
profits, it will lower their profits, and it will lower the ratings of
so
the
you
idol.
believe that that's why they're keeping you away from Nayeon.
Well, not just me. I'm not the only one who's affected. Because if you look, for example, at Nayeon, who has been seen to date with her tattoo artist, or there was also the thing from Momo and Hichu and stuff like that. If you look at the current situation, the company is trying to keep the idols from dating publicly, because the public dating has shown to cause a lot of drama, not just in my case, but also in Hyo's case. And
But JYP allowed Momo and Jihyo to date though, so it's already been publicly announced, and JYP hasn't made them break up. Like, okay, I know that Jihyo and Daniel, but that's just natural. Like, they allowed them to date.
Yeah, but there was also the case that it could be promotion stunt or something. But back then, it was more of what I thought was more of like a test, and they never really went deep into making the relationship public, because they saw that fans get jealous and they saw the bad effects that public dating had on the company. And it's not just only the public dating thing that's bad for the company, but also the fact that I'm from Germany, the fact that I'm from a different country, it adds to the motivation for charity entertainment to keep Nayeon single or not dating with me, because there was also this, obviously Nayeon brings in a lot of money for charity entertainment, and if she falls in love with me, for example, and I can convince her for whatever reason to go to Germany, which I don't mind where she wants to live, I would live wherever she wants to live, but they could be together. I may be convinced her to come to Germany or whatever, and then she doesn't. She stops with her career in charity entertainment, and charity entertainment would basically lose a knowledge which is very profitable for them. But either way, I personally find it a little bit idiotic from charity entertainment what they do, because they are just hurting themselves right now. Because we should continue with the timeline, because there's an important event that's coming up, which is charity entertainment actually announced officially that Nayeon went to the Seoul court, like the court, and she requested to withdraw the restraining order, which showed that Nayeon does not hate me, which shows that Nayeon.
I don't know how accurate that claim is.
Charity entertainment also added that the company charity entertainment would try to go against me anyway. Like, they were like, okay, Nayeon requested to withdraw the restraining order,
or the context of why that would be the case.
Go against God, which is ridiculous, because they're just hurting themselves, because they are the culprits, they are the bad guys, and in front of court, they will have to pay, they will have the problem. And that's why I find it a little bit funny. That's a little bit like, imagine you do something bad, and then you call the police, and you're like, something bad happened.
Okay, sorry, I have a question. When did Nayeon withdraw this restraining order? I didn't see this on the news.
I heard about it in March 2020, so it could be February, but it could also be March 2020.
Okay, can you send me the article that says this later? Like,
you can Google about it. Everyone who watches this can Google about it. Just Google Nayeon withdraw restraining order.
But a lot of articles will pop up against you specifically, or could it be another restraining order?
No, it just says Nayeon went to court to request the withdrawal of the restraining order.
Yeah, but
so this basically showed that Nayeon is on my side, which made sense, because I fulfilled every wish for Nayeon. I did everything that Nayeon wanted to do. I spent 100. By then I almost spent millions of dollars already to make Nayeon happy, to fulfill every wish that Nayeon has. So it just made sense that she's on my side, and that people can look it up.
Wait, but also, how do you know that this is the restraining order against you? Because there are multiple, these idols might have many restraining orders against
Listen. I have no idea what these clowns do. All I know is that Nayeon went to court to request to withdraw the restraining order against me, which showed that she's on my side. What European entertainment
True,
does,
it's like, how do you know it's you, bro?
Is such a kindergarten for me. I am too old to deal with such a kindergarten. I will help the police.
Although I will say, and this might be an unpopular opinion, this girl, Ploopy, I appreciate the fact that, like, she decided to interview this guy. I wish I was fucking smart enough to try to ask this guy for an interview. She's obviously a lot more popular than I am, so it's probably a lot more likely that she would actually that he would actually say yes to her. But that being said, like I had mentioned earlier, this does turn into a debate. And I think that's a mistake. Just because there's not really any value in that. I don't know what you're going to get from debating this guy. Like, you're not going to move him off his positions. But I think that it would be interesting to have done an interview where we were trying to get more in his head. That's really my take on it.
I personally, I just want to live my life. I just don't want to have anything to do
So
with
I don't think she should have given him
they told me
this type of pushback, because I think it just doesn't really do much.
Show them more of the wrongdoings that charity entertainment does. So
again,
the police want
he's
me to go
a trillion% wrong, the most wrong in the world. But
But if the police want to look at
Giving
you,
him this pushback
anyway,
isn't super
Okay,
helpful.
so let me ask my questions, yeah? So you said that, like, can you give me some examples? Because you say that you believe JYP is silencing Nayeon and preventing her from talking to you. So, like, what incidents do you have? Because I know you mentioned about how the restraining order was actually
There's
brought by
just,
JYP.
okay,
So please
there's not just, well, but I was at Cherokee Entertainment in December, and they lied to me because they at first pretended to be on my side. They actually lied to me and they said, we are on your side, Josh. We will give your letter to Nayeon. We usually don't do this, but we will give your gift to Nayeon as well. We usually don't do this, but we do it for you. We are totally on your side. We will tell Nayeon that you're a great guy, but please just wait 2 weeks. Don't do anything in those 2 weeks. Wait 2 weeks. We are on your side. We will give your letter to Nayeon. We will do everything to show Nayeon that you're a good guy. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. Great company. And then what did I do? I waited 2 weeks, exactly what they wanted me to do. And then 2 weeks later, they made something public that sounded a little bit wrong. And I was like, oh, they seemed a little misinformed here. I could go back to them. So I drove 90 minutes. Remember, it takes me 90 minutes to them because I usually take the bus. It's cheaper and it's kind of more comfortable. Anyway, so I went with the bus to them 90 minutes, and then I asked them, hey, what's going on? You told me you will tell Nayeon that I'm a good person. You said that I will that you will give my letter to Nayeon, and then the same guy that promised me that he will give my letter to Nayeon, that they will tell Nayeon that I'm a good guy, the same person said, yeah, just wait here 50 minutes. And then I waited 50 minutes at Cherokee Entertainment, and then he came back with 2 police officers. And I immediately realized, and then he came to me and he was like, we told you not to come back here, you're a bad person, stuff like that. And I was like, I immediately realized, oh my god, this guy actually lied to me. This guy tried to keep me silent for 2 weeks so that he can go to the police, lie about me, trying to get me kicked out of South Korea. And then I realized, like, it clicked. I was like, oh my god, when he told me that he's on my side, when he told me that he will give my letter to Nayeon, when he told me that he will tell Nayeon that I'm a great guy, he lied, trying to silence me for 2 weeks. And then he behind my back went to the police and lied to the police because guess what they said?
It wasn't even on the internet.
Lied to the police and they told the police that I would harass Nayeon's mother, which is completely untrue. I would never harass Nayeon's mother. That's such a crazy idea. And they also even said to the police that I would want to kill Nayeon.
Which is weird because I think later he does say something to imply that he would harass Nayeon's mother.
To get the police to kick me out of South
But I
Korea.
could be wrong
and
about
then
that.
I realized that and I was like, okay, not with me. I will go to the police and I will explain everything to the police. I will not let myself get lied by Cherokee Entertainment. And that's when I realized this company is so against me. They are literally lying to me to silence me, trying to be very, very, I don't know the English word, they try to be very, very, they try to be sneaky and with a sneaky move try to get me out of Korea, you know? Like they're very sneaky and very, very dishonest.
So
and
we know that they did that to you, but my question is, how do you know that they're silencing Nayeon as well? Because you
okay, so when I realized that they're dishonest, when I realized they're dishonest and they're sneaky, I realized, hold on, they probably told Nayeon the opposite. They didn't tell Nayeon that I'm a good person. Instead, they probably went to Nayeon and they tried to scare Nayeon away from me. And that's also why I was so pressured to take the flight, to be on the same flight, to tell her the truth, that I'm not a stalker, that I am in fact truly in love with her, and that I would never stalk her. And
So, like, now he acknowledges kind of that she was scared of the situation.
They most likely told Nayeon that I'm a stalker. They most likely told Nayeon that I'm dangerous, which I am not. They tried to scare Nayeon away from me. And when I realized that, I was like, okay, damn, this company is very evil, cannot be trusted. And yeah, and then also the next, to answer your question even more, the next thing is common sense. Remember, Nayeon, since January 9 has my contact information 100% because
He's also going to appeal to common
in
sense
real life,
a
on the
lot.
letter there's my contact information, right? So
despite
she
the fact that
can
he's
reject me at
not
any
really
time.
going to
She's
be
allowed
using
to reject
it.
me because that's exactly what the company wants. That's exactly what most of the jealous fans want, because remember, the fans want Nayeon to be single so that they have these fantasies with Nayeon. And so she is completely allowed to reject me. That's what the company wants to hear. That's what the fans want to hear. And I also was like, okay, if she rejects me, so be it. At least I have clarity. But she didn't even reject me. Here's the thing. If she wants to date me, if she's like, okay, maybe this Josh is a cool guy, maybe she is the right person, but maybe I need more time to figure it out or whatever, then she cannot message me, because if she messages me and she's like, okay, we're gonna date or whatever, then she could come into problems with the company Cherokee Entertainment or with fans, with just fans or whatever.
Because she didn't tell you that she likes you, so you feel like she's being silenced and blackmailed.
Well, she's to some extent for sure silenced by the fans, because as you could see with Jeong, for example, when this leaked that Jeong was dating or is dating
Now it's silenced by the
tattoo
fans?
artist, a lot of fans
Or was
attacked,
silenced
not
by
just Jeong,
JYP?
but even more so the tattoo artist, which is completely innocent. That's also the thing. The fans they have a problem with
Which kind of
logic,
goes to show,
because
like,
here's
kind of
the
like
thing.
how
When
his
Jaehyung
his
secretly
thoughts are
dated
kind
a
of
tattoo
ping
artist,
ponging.
who is the bad guy? Who is the bad guy towards the fans? Is it Jaehyung or is it the tattoo artist? Well, Jaehyung is the person who secretly, so to speak, cheated on the fans. So technically, Jaehyung is the bad person who
Right,
cheated
the fans
on the
attacked
fans,
her
so to
husband.
speak. So
Like,
the jealous
she's not-
fans
no-
should hate on
no one's a
Jaehyung, but
bad
instead,
person. She can do
the
whatever
jealous fans,
the hell
most of
she
them
wants.
hated
Like-
the boyfriend of Jaehyung, which has nothing to do. He's completely innocent. He's a tattoo artist. He has his tattoo shop. He's 40 years old. He's an adult. He has his own life. And the fans attacked him, even though he has nothing to do with that entire K-pop industry. So,
will
if
say-
anything, the fans should hate Jaehyung for being dishonest, for not telling
I didn't know Chaeyoung, who's like 20, probably like 21, 22 at this time, was dating like a guy in his 40s, if that is in fact accurate. There were definitely reports that she was dating her tattoo artist. I don't know if her tattoo artist is 40. So I don't know if she was actually dating him, but if she was dating a 40-year-old, then nice.
the fans about the relationship for being dishonest to the fans, but they should not hate
I'm
the
just kidding.
innocent boyfriend because he is not involved in this entire K-pop industry, this entire
seems
love
like that'd be pretty-
friendship, price tag
I don't know,
sort
I
of
guess,
thing.
would that be
And
normal
yeah,
for
so
like
that's also the thing.
Asian
And,
culture? I don't
yeah,
know.
he got hated. Jin got
I guess
hated,
Korean
and,
culture, because the
that's
culture's
why
in
they
Asia
know
are all
if an idol starts dating publicly,
different.
there will be some hate, there will be some backlash, and that's why they try to not to prevent this from happening. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, give me 1 second. Oh, so you also tried to send a message. Well, your friend tried to send a message to Nayeon's sister, and then she read it on Facebook, but she didn't reply, right? And from that, you also had this theory that therefore Nayeon's friends and family might also be silenced. Is this true?
Well, there are two options.
Uh-huh.
Either they are silenced, or they are numb. And what I mean with numb is numb to communication, because communication is very, very important. It's a very important tool for humans to progress, to exchange information. So communication is really the key to progress. That's why we, the human species,
He's gonna use, like, the lack of
have all this
communication
technology,
point
because we're able
to,
work together, communicate together,
Right.
and I was
justify
like, okay, so I am talking to Korean
Nayeon
with
as
them,
being
but
a
I'm
bad
also talking
guy.
in English with them. I try both languages, and if I message
Because she's
Nayeon's,
not going to
aunt
communicate
or
to him.
Nayeon's sister or
And if she's
Nayeon's
not going to
mother,
communicate
but
to him,
they do
then
not
she's a bad
communicate
guy
back
for
to
it.
me, then either they are smart but silenced and are not allowed to communicate back, or they are allowed to communicate back but do not communicate back out of stupidity because they do not realize the importance of the exchange of information. Because obviously, if they communicate back to me and give me the information, then I can work with the information. And if they tell me Nayeon doesn't like you because she thinks you are a stalker or whatever, then I can work with that information and I can tell, listen, there are misunderstandings here. I'm not a stalker. Maybe she's misinformed. But they can also say, Nayeon is not interested in you. She knows that you're a good person, but you're not her type. Or maybe she's interested in girls or whatever, and she doesn't like boys or whatever.
And then he's about to
I would just
explain,
say, okay,
he's about to go into a
look,
pretty much a huge
that's fine.
diatribe
I
on
accept
why
the
them
rejection
saying
because
that
of
to
the
him
differences.
wouldn't
You don't
work.
understand. I accept the rejection as long as it is based on truth, as long as Nayeon knows that I'm a good person, as long as it is not based on wrong information. So if Nayeon knows I'm a good person, I have good intentions, I did all of this, I spent so far millions of dollars the past 2 years to prove to Nayeon that I truly love her. And if she knows, okay, he did this out of love, he is a good person, but I still don't like him, then I obviously accept the rejection because I cannot force anyone to love me and to love me back. But if the rejection is based on wrong information, like, oh, Josh wants to kill me, I reject him, that's obviously a wrong information. Then I'm like, wait, no, you have wrong information. I truly love you. I would never harm you. These are fake news made up by jealous fans and whatever. And I want Nayeon to know that I'm a good person, and then based on that, make a decision, an educated decision, to either say, okay, he's the right person to spend my life with, that I'm going to marry, or she says, maybe he's not the right one, but then she tells me and makes it clear and says, okay, Josh, I know you're a good person, but you're not the right one, I'm sorry, and then I have this rejection. And then also, what would be kind of nice is if she could repay some of the efforts, because she could have rejected me much earlier, and she always had these,
this is where the crux of the
these
problem
moments
starts to
where I was
seep
like,
in.
hold on. Is she requesting efforts of me? Because a lot of people say, but wait, you cannot request to Nayeon to repay you any efforts if she rejects you because she never asked for it. But there are some occasions, especially after I confessed and stuff like that, where, for example, in the radio show,
Can we get to this later? Because I want to finish up the timeline first. Because right now we're talking about Nayeon.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's where you, like,
I wanted to go to the timeline.
they just
because-
cracked
so
open
the
the
timeline-
disaster
so as far as
box.
March 2020, Nayeon, there was this news
That's
that
gonna be the
Nayeon
root
and then
of
I wanted
this
to go back to
guy's,
Korea in April 2020 because I was like, damn, I'm on my side. That's
why everyone
great.
vehemently does not like
I will
this
go
guy,
back to South Korea
we'll say.
because I have this great news that Nayeon went to court to request the withdrawal of the restraining order. That's good news. But then coronavirus happened, and then
Heck yeah.
Korea was closed. And then I was like,
Got
damn,
another
what do I do
bird.
now? And then I started to do monthly update videos.
Alright.
And
Which I watched.
yeah, not much happened. But then at the end of 2020, I think it was like in September 2020 or something like that, there was a Radio Star TV show in 2020. And this is very important because in this Radio Star TV show, they talked about marriage. They talked about which member will marry last, which member is the pickiest when it comes to boyfriends. And they came to the conclusion that probably Cheon is going to marry first. She will be the first one who's going to marry. And she also talked about that she doesn't really want a marriage, that she just wants she doesn't want a wedding, sorry, she doesn't want like this party, she just wants the marriage. So you know what I mean? So, but anyway, they talked about this and then they were like, okay, and who's the member who will marry last? Who's the pickiest member? And then Cheon said in Korean, well, it's probably Nayeon. And then the radio host, I think Kong is his name, this radio host, he asked like, why does Nayeon care about certain male attributes? And then Cheon said, no, but if someone wants to marry Nayeon, he has to continuously work for it. He has to continuously work for it. And then I heard this and I was like, okay, so she has not, she doesn't care about specific attributes because I first thought maybe my hair
And not
is
that this
wrong,
would
maybe
matter.
my nose is too big.
But keep in
then
mind
I
they're just
realized,
on
okay,
some
she's not so superficial,
Korean
she doesn't
TV
care about my
show.
attributes, but she wants someone who continuously works for the law, for her. And
I don't know
that
why
for me
this
was
one
like,
doesn't
okay, so
grow.
I have to continue with my update videos. I have to continue to prove to Nayeon that I truly love her. And that was for me like a very, very big moment because I realized, okay, I don't have to have special facial features, or I don't have to look a certain way. I just have to continuously work for her heart, and that's why I continue to make these videos and this work and this time. I put so much time. It's not just the videos. It's not
We'll
just
talk
the stuff
about
that I
that
edit.
later. So I wanted to say, like, okay, so it seems like overall you feel like, oh, JYP is trying to restrict Nayeon and things like that, right? And so you waited for Nayeon's contract to end, but then in July of 2022 she re-signed. So how did you feel about this? Was this shocking to you?
Well, obviously, I made videos about this in early 2022, and I think also 2021. I often said that I'm suffering a lot from this contract.
Also, I don't know how
realized that,
either of these people are
all the
YouTubers,
members
and
resigned.
neither of them had a very
I
decent
obviously
setup
felt a
for
little
like,
bit,
just wear headphones,
How do you
please.
say? I felt a little bit punched in the face, so to speak. Well, it hurt me a lot because I was
You're
like,
putting
damn, man,
echo.
you could have at least talked with me about it. I mean, if she wants to continue with the contract, whatever reason, then that's fine with me. I'm sure that she has her reasons to continue, and I'm sure that maybe she does it for the other members who want to continue, and that she's like, okay, if we continue, then we all have to continue because it would be awkward if only a few of us continue because then twice wouldn't be the same. So they were probably like, okay, we either stop all or we continue all. And then she maybe did it because some members wanted to continue, and she was like, okay, if they want to continue, we all continue.
Seems to know a lot
So
about
we
Twice's
keep
approach
Twice
to things
going.
for someone
but I
who
was
doesn't
really
listen to
disappointed.
Twice
I was
or care
really,
about
when I heard
Twice
about it, I
or-
was really not just me, but a lot of my friends, they messaged me and they were like, dude, have you seen this? That's kind of crazy that Nayeon does this to you. Like, damn.
And that's the problem, is these people who are like talking to him and they're just like egging him on, saying like,
I
oh,
really felt disappointed and hurt, and I was like, okay, she could have at least talked with me about it. As I said, I do everything for Nayeon. I would even build a rocket.
That
and
tell
fly
her
to
what-
Mars
that's I'm
if-
like,
if
dang,
Nayeon
dude.
requested this.
that's
But at
crazy.
least
She's
she should
like, I
have-
can't believe
she
she's
should
doing all
talk
this
with
to
me
you.
about it
They know
and not
very
let
well
me
that's
in
not what's
uncertainty,
going on.
Because I keep putting in these efforts over and over again, and then it was like, okay, damn, I feel a little bit punched in the face right now. I feel a little bit exhausted, a little bit like so much time, so much money, so much effort that I put in, and then she doesn't even talk with me about the contract. And should I suffer even longer now? I was like, maybe my suffering will end when the contract will end, because then I can finally communicate with Nayeon. Because remember, I also suffer from this uncertainty a lot. I cannot sleep well. I often have thoughts like, does she like me? Does she hate me? If she hates me, why would she hate me? Is she misinformed? Or maybe she likes me, but why doesn't she secretly somehow message me and calm me down and stuff like that? And then there's also these lyrics that Nayeon wrote in songs which I do not care about. Like, I usually do not look into lyrics because they are just lyrics. But people messaged me about them and said like, look, Nayeon wrote this song and it said that this song is written by Nayeon and it says do not worry and stuff like that and some hints and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, I am not a child. I do not like hints. I just want clarity. I want clear communication, exchange of information clearly, like adults do. And yeah, and
Whoever
so
the people
I
who
was
are telling him
okay,
like, oh dude, listen to
in
this,
July I
like
realized, I
that's
should come back
fucked
to South
up.
Korea earlier than October, because I thought I go back to October when the contract ends, but now the contract won't end, so maybe I should go back to South Korea earlier. But yeah, I really didn't want to go back in uncertainty because I hate traveling alone. I hate being in South Korea alone. It's expensive, it's tiring, I only wanted to go back to South Korea when I knew that Nayeon wants me to come back.
Right,
But then
so
I was
why
like,
did you
damn.
make the decision to go now? Is it because you were trying to celebrate Nayeon's birthday, or?
Yeah, I was like, okay. I wanted to go in October anyway, and she did not give me any clarity because I was like, if she gives me clarity, if she's like, hey Josh, wait another 2 years, then I'm like, okay, no problem. I can wait for you as long as you want.
Again,
I can wait
I
for
mean,
2
I
years,
don't
but
think I
she
have to
did
say this
not
a
give
bunch
me
of times,
clarity
but
all the
she
time. I
does
asked
not
for clarity,
actually
I
talk
asked
to him.
because it was like, okay, can you please give me clarity? What do you think about me? Should I stay in Germany? What do you think? I need clarity. It's really important for me. It's very stressful that I do not have clarity, and I said it over and over again, and I still did not have clarity. And I was like, hey, Nayeon's birthday on the 22nd of September. Maybe I should go. Maybe I should prepare birthday gifts and letters for Nayeon and go back to Korea a few days before her birthday starts, so that I'm prepared for her birthday. And then when her birthday starts, I will go to her neighborhood, I will distribute my gifts, I will distribute my letters, and hopefully some of these gifts and some of these letters will reach Nayeon, and hopefully Nayeon then, if she is misinformed about me, if she hears fake news about me, maybe then she realizes that she's misinformed, and also there are again my contact information, and again, well, not again, but this time I really emphasized how important it is to communicate. I really emphasized in the letter that communication is really important. Here are my contact information. Please let me know what you think. It is really important that I have clarity, and yeah, I emphasized it very much in this letter this time. And I hope that when Nayeon gets to read this letter, she realizes, okay, the urgency of clear communication, and then either tells me, hey Josh, it's really nice that you came back to South Korea, but I would like you to go back to Germany, or she says, hey Josh, it's really nice that you came back to South Korea. We can meet here and there when I have time or whatever. But whatever.
Because I actually have thoughts on this, but I wanted to save my thoughts after we get to the end of the timeline. So then now you're in Cheongdam again, right? So how long are you?
Yes.
Funny, it's an interview. Why do you
Well,
like? I understand that you have thoughts on
this
it,
time, as long as it takes to have clarity. I will stay as long as Nayeon wants me to, but I will also stay as long as I have clarity. So if Nayeon tells me, hey Josh, it's really nice that you're back in South Korea, could you stay for 10 years? Then I would say, yeah, of course I can stay for 10 years. I can stay forever in Korea. But if she says go back to Germany, then I would go back immediately to Germany because I have also things to do in Germany. But despite me having things to do in Germany, I'm here in South Korea for
so how long are you
Nayeon.
planning to stay if she doesn't say anything?
Yeah, so that's really big. Despite me having to do a lot of important things in Germany, I stay here in South Korea, and I stay here in South Korea as long as Nayeon wants me to, because I truly love her. That's also really big, because what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of people think, well, Josh in Korea, oh, it's so nice, and oh, I want to go to Korea as well. But for me here in South Korea, going to South Korea here is very expensive, not just because of the flight, but because also I have
He keeps
to neglect
talking,
the
keeps
important
making it
things that I
sound
have
like
in
going
Germany,
to
and,
Korea,
yeah,
doing these things for
that's a big
Nayeon,
deal. And me
is
staying in
very
Germany for so long and being potentially,
personally
well,
like
if Nayeon wants to
expensive
stay here
for him,
forever,
like
I would
emotionally,
stay here forever.
monetarily,
And that's
physically.
a really big deal. I hope people understand how big this is, because yeah, that shows how much I love Nayeon.
What if she never says anything? Then are you still going to just stay there forever?
Yeah, I will stay there until I have clarity.
Okay.
But I also know where she gets her makeup done and stuff like that. I know where she is from time to time. I could meet her earlier, but I am trying to.
And if you're wondering how he has so much money to do all this, he'll explain that. He won't explain it, but they'll talk. They'll bring it
I
up.
could go to the makeup store that Nayeon goes to almost every day. I can wait there, and I can
spend,
wait
like,
until Nayeon comes there.
a
I can
lot
give her
of
my
money.
gifts
Presumably
directly, I
he's
can give her my
rich or
letters
something.
directly, but at the makeup store they get driven by managers, and there are usually 3 managers or things like that, and they will for sure cause drama. They did it last time on the flight as well, and I really do not want to have anything to do with this kindergarten entertainment, and that's why for now I give my letters to friends and people who see Nayeon sometimes privately for now, and to avoid drama. So I make things slowly to avoid drama, but if it takes longer and longer, I will have to take bigger and bigger steps to finally see Nayeon and get clarity. And the clarity is very important. It's also very important to me that Nayeon realizes that I'm a good person.
Sounds
so
troubling.
Let's just, wrap up the timeline by talking about your mental health at the moment, because from what I know, you are struggling a lot with, like, anxiety. You also go to a psychiatrist. So, and also I heard that you spent 3 million euros
I really
so
want to
far
know what a
in the past 3
psychiatrist
years
thinks.
to search for Nayeon. So can you talk about how this has impacted your finances and mental health?
Okay, so my mental health, my mental health is actually really good compared to most people, but because I am in love, this adds a lot of weight. When people are truly in love, like I am right now, and they're not able to communicate with their loved ones, like I am right now, then this is a very heavy weight, which very much drags, like it takes a lot of energy away from you. The only mental problem that I have since a long time is anxiety issues, mostly the flight anxiety that I overcame now, because anxieties can be you can overcome anxieties if you're able to face them. Anxieties, the best way to overcome anxieties is to face them. That's the tip to everyone who is listening who has anxieties. If you try to face them, I know it's hard to face them. It's insanely hard. I remember when I stepped into the airplane the first time, my body tried to drag me out of the airplane. I was like, oh my god, do not get into this airplane. I had so much fear, but the more I faced anxiety, the more it went away. But the other thing is the love sickness, I am in love and I cannot communicate with the person I love. I'm sure everyone who had been truly in love at some point and has not received love back knows how difficult it is and how much energy it drains, because suddenly everything becomes difficult. Even simple things like, for example, washing the washing machine, putting out the clothes into the dryer. It's really simple things that suddenly become so difficult because you are so mentally you just want to cry. You feel so depressed almost because you're like, okay, I love this person, I want this person to be happy, this person is my passion. That's what love is. Love is a passion for something, and I truly love that, and I wish I could communicate with her, and then suddenly I cannot, and it's so it drains so much energy.
But it seems to be consuming your life. Don't you think that that's unhealthy? That it's like.
Well, love. Here's the thing. Love. Well, I am a scientist, and I am.
I'm also a scientist. I'm actually a pharmacist. I'm actually a pharmacist as well. So.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice. So, at heart, I am a person who loves reality.
That is by far the funniest part. It's like, well, I'm a scientist, and she's like, oh, I'm a scientist, I'm a pharmacist. He's like, yeah, it's nice.
How is love connected to evolution? Because usually we can explain a lot of our emotions by evolution. For example, when we have fear, when we have anxiety, we know that this was helpful in evolution to survive, to reproduce and stuff like that. And that's why I also thought, okay, where does love fit into evolution? And my theory is that love was necessary for reproduction and survival, because you had to protect your family, you had to protect your wife, you had to protect your children, and if there was no love, then there was no motivation to protect your family, and thus it would lower the survival rate of the family. So families that loved each other had cared more for the children, cared more for their wife, and that's why their survival rate were higher, and that's why love exists and was probably evolutionary necessary, and that's the thing. I'm not sure if everyone can love equally. I'm sure it's like a spectrum or something like that. But what I feel love is, and what a lot of my friends feel as love, is a shift in passion. Suddenly, everything you did before that you had passion for gets erased. You do not have passion anymore for these things. The only passion you have now is to care for the person you love, and the person becomes your new passion, to protect this person, to make everything that this person is healthy, happy, and also to protect the family with that person. And it's almost like a shift. It's almost like a shift in the brain, like you fall in love, and it's such a powerful emotion. And there are also people who say love can move mountains, because love can be such a strong emotion. And
But in your case, the love is not requited, right? So far, you haven't even gotten a response, and it is destroying your life because you spent.
I have gotten a response. If you would have listened carefully, I'm sure a lot of listeners know that I mentioned this earlier. I got a response, and this response was that he has to continuously work for it. That's one response. The other response was that she went to court to withdraw the restraining order, which is also a big thing, because remember, you have to get up, you have to go to court, you have to speak with them and tell them, hey, can you withdraw the restraining order from Josh? This is also quite a big deal. So I got these responses, and also she made songs which she sang, Love We Love, and Never Give Up and stuff like that. And I know these are songs and these are covers, but this just adds to the
he's referring about when she sang Born This Way.
It really makes it look like she wants me to come back, because as I said, I even said in my videos, hey Nayeon, if you don't like me, if you do not want me, then tell me clearly, give me a clear rejection. Remember that, and she never gave me a clear rejection. So I'm like, okay, she wants me to continuously work for it. Okay, I will keep making videos, I will keep showing Nayeon that I truly love her, and I will follow my heart, and I will do everything to show her that I truly love her, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you my opinion right now, because I thought about, like, I understand your whole question. So
And
I feel
we're
like
about
you're getting a lot of hate comments, but no one is answering
fall
your
off
question.
the
Why
deep
doesn't
end.
Nayeon just directly reject you, right? So actually, I'm just a small-time internet personality. So of course, my fame is just 1% of Nayeon. But even I would never directly reject anyone, because I have also had like subscribers and stuff who constantly call me without my permission, and I could have just told them, can you stop calling me? But I wouldn't do that because it affects my reputation as
Which
a
is
celebrity.
insane.
Furthermore, there
I
have
don't-
been actually a lot
I
of
can't
cases
imagine
where
that.
celebrities have been killed or even harmed by
Like,
fans after
she's like, it hurts her
rejecting
reputation.
them.
Like,
And so I know that
that's
you
not
cannot be like that.
for someone at your size. That's not a justification to.
That's why Nayeon would be scared to reject you. She doesn't know how
You should
to
100% reject
here's
someone
the thing. The longer
if like
she
they're
would take,
harassing you.
but
She's like, well, I wouldn't do it because then they might not like
putting
me.
yourself
Like
into a
what?
situation where you could get killed because if there are people
Because it hurts your reputation. What, are you insane?
think there could be a relationship between you and them, and you do not give them clarity, and remember, and they keep working for it, and they keep working for it, and you tell them things like, remember, Nayeon said he needs to go to his work rate, remember, Nayeon said she wants
In the context of it being
boyfriend.
dangerous, like, that's
Remember,
100%
Nayeon
true.
said
That might be a valid reason not to do it.
Order, and
That, like,
Nayeon
oh,
said
well, it could be
oftentimes she
dangerous.
wants to stay,
100%.
stuff like
That might be a
and
reason
she's
that you
very
have to
available, and she presents herself by-
handle
what
those
we do
situations
is
with tact.
more
But
and
to
more
be like, well, I
people,
wouldn't
or
do
in
it
my
because it
case,
could hurt my
it's me,
reputation.
work
Like, that's
more
just
and more and
insane.
more and more and more, and this accumulates and accumulates and accumulates. These efforts accumulate, and you make it worse and worse and worse. If you would go to them instantly and you say to them, "I do not want a relationship. I do not want this," then that's the best way to do it. If you say, "No, I will keep them. I will not give them rejection," even if they come to you, "Hey, please reject me. Give me clarity," or something like that, and you still do not reject them, then they think even more. Okay, maybe I just have to put more efforts into it. And then when you finally, after 10 years, reject them, then obviously they have lost a lot of time, a lot of money, and then you will have to repay them. And if you do not repay them, then you risk them doing justice on their own, because not always does the police help them, because obviously they can go to the police and they can be like, "Hey, this what's your name, by the way?"
What's my name? Evangeline.
Yes. Eventually, okay, they can say, "Hey, eventually, she always presented herself available. She always baited me into spending more and more money, and she never rejected me. And now, and after 10 years, she dates someone else. She basically runs away with all my efforts." Then the police might say, "Well, we cannot do much because the police is not very reliable yet." And then what do the guys have for options? Then the guys, they need their justice, right? They need their justice. So what do? They can either go to you, Evangeline, and they say, "Hey, repay my efforts," or they say, "You know what? You cannot even repay my efforts, then I have to do it in my own hands, and then you get killed." And so, by not communicating, you are risking your life. Communication is the safest thing to protect life, okay?
Oh my
And that's a
gosh.
tip for you, okay? I say this because I care for
Can I
you,
not die
Evangeline.
right here,
The
please?
next time you get people, and they tell you, "Hey, do you want a relationship?" You have to clearly reject them, communicate with them, because
Hey, Nick.
else you risk literally getting killed eventually if you do not communicate properly, okay? So please, Evangeline,
Yes.
and everyone who listens, please communicate properly. Communication, the exchange of information is
Yeah, this guy's basic
insanely
philosophy
important,
is
and
that,
it's the reason why we as humanity progress so much.
if,
you let people in
if you're a-
uncertainty, if you let people guess, if people have to guess, you are just wasting their time, you are wasting their efforts.
If you waste
and
waste
you
someone-
risk
if-
very, very bad
if you're a girl
situations.
Let me
and
give you some examples of celebrities who have
someone
rejected
wastes their
their
time
fans and have
and
been
effort
killed.
on you,
Christina
and
Grimmie,
you're not
shot
interested
3
in them,
times
you didn't
by
ask them to
Kevin
do
James
it,
to his sex.
and you don't reciprocate his feelings, and you don't pay him back, then it's justified for him to
because Christina Grimmie, the situation was like this.
to
He
kill
also
you,
wanted
basically.
charity. He even went through a hair transplant to look more pretty for her. He did a lot of efforts to show her that he truly loves her, okay? But what she did is she did not reject him. Instead, she dated someone else behind his back, and later it got public.
And then Christina
and
Grimmie,
then
I don't know if you
he
guys know who
felt
that
cheated
is.
on because he got
Singer,
not rejected.
YouTuber.
He felt cheated on because he was like, "Hey, I'm doing all this
died
efforts,
because someone-
you never
she-
rejected me, and now you're
that
dating this other
stalked
guy."
her,
And then he went
he
to one of
rejected
her
her,
fan signs, and then he killed her
and then
because
he
was
says-
like, "Hey, that's so unfair. I did all these efforts, you never rejected me, and now you're dating someone else."
And he's using that as
I have
justification for his
100%
actions.
sympathy. Listen, the guy who killed Christina Grimmie is the victim, okay? Christina Grimmie is the bad person. The guy who killed Christina Grimmie is a victim, okay? Because he got baited,
Well-
he did not get clarity, he asked for clarity a long time, and
That's,
Christina
the
Grimmie just
insane
dated
part.
someone else without giving him clarity, even despite him doing so many efforts, okay? So he was a victim, yeah? Props to him. I really feel bad for him that it had to end like this. But Christina Grimmie is a murderer, okay? She is the murderer. He is the victim, she is the murderer, okay? Just to make the point.
Okay. Then how about Rebecca Schaefer, who was shot by her
I don't know
19-year-old
Rebecca Schaefer. I have no idea about Rebecca Schaefer.
So what happened was that this fan had sent her a bunch of gifts as well, and at first she thought he was a normal fan, so she responded to the first one. But then he kept like being more and more obsessive. So one day he turned up at her door, and then she rejected him and told him not to come back. And then he got angry and came back and shot her an hour later. So like the moment you reject them, then they become violent. And then
Yeah,
the
okay.
example is
Maybe. Okay, I do not know the situation, but maybe in this case, maybe she also could have repaid his effort, but it could also be that this guy was simply crazy. But just because one guy was crazy doesn't mean everyone is crazy. And listen,
It's like, I don't know what to say to that. It's like, he could have just been crazy. It's like-
and you ask the tower, hey,
Yes,
is the landing
he
strip
could have
free?
been.
And the
That's
tower
kind
does
of
not
everyone's
communicate
point.
back, and you're risking a very bad situation. Clear communication is extremely important, not just in relationships, not just in real life, but also in aviation, in everything that we see.
Okay, but if you reject them and you risk it, then another example is Mayu Tomita also got stabbed because she rejected the guy. So they're actually examples of crazy fans, right? So I can understand why a celebrity would be like, oh, I might risk my life if I reject him. But what you're saying is
Everyone already knows that I'm okay with the rejection because I said it multiple times. I said, hey, if you do not want me to come back to South Korea, then please reject me. I also said, listen, Nayeon, I will come back to South Korea, but if you do not want me to come back to South Korea, then let me know clearly, because then I do not waste any more money to come back at any more time, because then I can stay in Germany and focus on my work in Germany, okay? And what did she do? She said nothing. She literally said, hey, just come back to Korea, because she had two options. She could say, hey, no, stay in Germany, Josh, or she could say, come back to Korea. What did she say? She said, come back to Korea, because she did not say, stay in Germany, okay? So
That's not how that works.
But she didn't stay too calm. So this was your assumption.
No, she did. When I said, okay, listen, text me. It's like. Look,
And again,
you're in the room. Okay?
I agree with like
I know you're in the room. I know you can
90,
hear me.
probably
I know you can hear me. It's not that
5% of what Evangeline says.
You say nothing. Come in, you say nothing, and then you say, hey, listen, I come in
But
now. If you do
I
not want
don't
me to come
think
in,
this was
then
the way to
tell me
approach this
clearly, no, come
conversation.
in. And she'll say, don't say anything. Of course you go in, because you know that person would tell you to not. But the reason why I am so angry right now is because of your lack of logic, or your lack of reasoning, your lack of common sense. And I hope that you do exercises to improve your common sense, to improve your logic, because your common sense is so bad that it's actually dangerous to not just yourself but also to society. Okay, use your common sense, use communication correctly. Okay.
Let's cool down. This is not. I'm not trying to attack you. But the problem is Nayeon is a
Kinda is.
worldwide famous celebrity. You're acting as
It's also a
Yeah,
misconception.
he says
Nayeon
improve your
is
common
not
sense. He doesn't
a
have common
worldwide
sense,
famous
but
celebrity as
he does
a
that a
lot of
lot.
children think, because what celebrity, what fame is quantity times quality. Nayeon may have a lot of fans. She may have a lot of quantity, but the quality of these fans is very, very low, because these are all kids. And
I don't like being called a
being
low-quality
famous
fan.
underneath kids is very, very easy, okay? I could be as famous as Justin Bieber if I wanted to, because Justin Bieber also, his fan base is also a lot of children. And to entertain children
keep in mind,
is
this
very,
guy's-
very easy,
this guy's
okay?
rich, that's
But
why you
I
can
am
say
a
something like
scientist.
that.
I care more about real progress of humanity. What Nayeon does, what Justin Bieber does, what all these celebrities do, is they put out mindless entertainment to entertain children, to entertain people who consume mindless entertainment. These are mostly children. And what I do is I engineer, I make progress, I discover things with experiments, I do science. I actually provide long-term progress for humanity, okay?
I'm
These
not trying to
mindless
debate the
entertainers,
quality
they
of
do
Nayeon's
not
fan.
provide long-term progress for humanity. What I do is I provide long-term progress for humanity, okay? So to say Nayeon is a celebrity or whatever, I am a scientist. I am
I'm not
even
saying that
better,
she's
okay?
better. I'm not saying
If you
she's
say,
better.
oh, Nayeon has to be careful because she's famous, I have to be even more careful. I have even more to lose. Do you not realize
Power
this? I
force
have even
sharpness
more
is
to
pretty
lose.
good.
I work
Efficiency
even
4.
harder
I
than
wonder if we should
Nayeon.
start
And,
crafting.
I'm not saying
I hope
I'm
you
a
realize
scientist.
that
You could be
your
Justin-
question
you could
is
be
like,
Justin
you say,
Timberlake.
what are these girls gonna do? What are these girls gonna
That's a
do?
fact.
Okay, but let's finish my point first. What I'm trying to say is that she has a lot of fans. Whether you think these fans are good quality or not is besides the point. What I'm trying to say is you're not the only one who loves Nayeon. I'm sure there are a lot of men out there who also feel like we do.
I am the only one that loves Nayeon, truly. What fans do is they see her as idol. When I was younger, I also had idols. Chester from Linkin Park. I was a fan of Chester from Linkin Park. I loved him.
Power
I
doesn't
loved his
apply
music,
to,
okay?
swords,
But
right?
what fans feel
Applies
for
to
their
bows.
idol is not true love. And the reason I know that I am the only person that really loves Nayeon is because I did research. I asked everyone who loved Nayeon, and I asked them, hey, do you really love Nayeon, or is it fan love? And it 100% of the time turned out to be fan love and not true love. I am the only one who truly loves Nayeon. I am the only one who spends millions of dollars every year to prove my love to Nayeon. Nobody comes even close to that. That you have the audacity to say that there are many people who truly love Nayeon is crazy, because you can evidently see that I
Yeah, I
am
know
by
sorts of like
far, by
sharpness,
far
and
the
then
person who
flame is
put
all.
the most-
Does flame
put the
also?
most effort
Flame's
into it,
also only
who
on bows,
puts
right? Like I
his
can't use
life
that on
into
like a
it, all
sword.
his time, all
Because
his
that would just be too
a
cool.
lot of my money put into proving to Nayeon that I truly love her. So to say that there are a lot of people who love Nayeon is ridiculous.
But as a
Ridiculous.
scientist, we
It's
never
a shame
say,
that they say this.
But wait, but as a scientist, we can never say a definitive statement like you are the only one. From what you know,
You can see it on the level. You can see it. Nobody puts even close as much time as me to make Nayeon happy. No one puts even as close
Fire
money.
aspect,
I put
that's
the most money. I
right.
put the most time into proving Nayeon that I truly love her, and I fulfill her every wish. Nobody does as much for Nayeon as me. Not even her mother, not even her sister, not even her best friends. I am always there for Nayeon. I'm there 24/7.
Yeah, sweeping edge, like, it
in the
increases,
middle
like,
of
the
night,
radius
if
of, like, your
Nayeon has a
swing,
problem,
right?
And she calls me and she said, "Hey Josh, can you please build me a rocket to the Mars? Because that would make me happy." Then I would jump out of my bed, build a rocket for her, that she can fulfill her wishes. Because nobody loves Nayeon as much as I do, not even close.
Well,
Oh,
I
gotcha.
mean, maybe that's how you feel, but
Increases
I'm sure
sweep
that
damage,
Nayeon
that makes
gets
sense.
See,
thousands
that's
of messages.
that's reality. It's how I feel.
If you
I never go by how I feel. Listen, you are a girl. You often go by how you feel because you do not have the mental capacity to think logically. Okay, but I go by reality. Okay, I never go by how I feel. I always go by reality.
But if that's your view on women, then that already shows that you don't have a respect for Nayeon, because Nayeon is the woman.
Look, Nayeon is a little bit different. Look, Nayeon is a little bit different.
Blah blah blah.
Nayeon is quite smart because she also got asked, when you have to solve a problem, do you go by how you feel or do you go by logic? And she was the only member from all 9 who said, I go by logic, because logic is very, very important. Going by how you feel, going by feelings is a tool for people who do not have the mental capacity to use logic.
Which is what you're doing. Look, this is not constructive to you. You have spent so much money, so much time, and look, you still haven't gotten the result, right? At some point, I feel like you have to think about your life as well.
You have a thinking problem. You have a thinking problem. Think logically. Look, I tell you now where you have to think. By the way, I am partially a math teacher. Some people know this already. I teach math to some students, but I usually do it for free. But listen, this feels like having to teach an elementary student why 2 + 2 = 4. Literally, like. Oh my God, you make so many logical errors. Okay, the reason why I have to go back to South Korea is one is the other option. Think about it. If I stay in Germany and I am permanently in uncertainty. Does she love me? Does she not love me? If I am permanently in unclarity, I lose more and more time. I cannot progress because I'm like, does she love me? Does she not love me? And even if I say, you know what? Fuck it, I quit. I quit with Nayeon.
Sweep
Even if I
sharp
would
fire
say this,
aspect
then
smite
how would
doesn't
I get
serious
back
damage.
the
Yeah,
efforts
it's,
that I put in for Nayeon? How would I get back?
it'd be nice to try to get something like
you
that.
have to go back to South Korea, and I'm like, why? Yeah, because they have to deal with that and not we in Germany. So I would have to go to Korea regardless, whether I quit the relationship or not. I would either have to get back my efforts.
Well, the thing is, like,
I have to get
he's not, like, he's clearly, like, mentally,
I make mistakes. That's so ridiculous.
they're not
I mean,
on the
you're like a
same
student, the problem is
page.
You're like a little student who cannot think
We'll
well.
say it like
But usually
that.
I'm used to this because I teach
So
a lot
he's
of
like,
students. But in your case, you have the audacity to even
like, they really should, like, they shouldn't be have, they're like,
the
the point, there's no way in this that, where it's a constructive discussion for both sides. The only way it can be constructive is for the interviewer to, like, learn more about people who think differently than you. This guy cannot do that.
And listen. What if Nayeon truly loved me? What if?
If
Well,
you truly
here's
loved
the
me,
thing.
you would have
Right now,
prioritized
listen. Right now, there is a 90% chance that Nayeon truly loves me, and there's a 10% chance. Listen, there's a 10% chance that she hates me, but she's too stupid to reject me. Okay, but there's a 90% that she loves me. So if I quit in Germany, not only do I lose all my efforts, millions of dollars of efforts I put in, but I would also hurt Nayeon a lot because remember, Nayeon, there's a good chance that she loves me, and then she will be like, oh no, just get up on me, and then she will get depressed, and then she might kill herself because she gets depressed because I quit the relationship, and then Nayeon kills herself, and what she, but I could remember,
If she loves you that much, she would just quit.
just imagine, I quit the relationship, just imagine.
Yeah, there's a
I quit the
90% chance
relationship,
that some Korean girl
just
that
imagine, I quit the
he's only
relationship, I stay in
ever
Germany, and it's like, you know
met
what?
once
Fuck it, I
because
quit the
he
relationship, I would date someone else. Just imagine this.
got
Just
onto a
imagine,
plane that she
and
was
now
on and tried
Nayeon is like,
harassing
oh
her.
no, just get up on me. Nayeon gets depressed.
I mean, to
Nayeon
be,
gets
he
sad,
doesn't think of it
Nayeon
as
ends up killing
harassment,
herself or
but
whatever, and then I read on the news, well, Nayeon killed herself
he thinks
because
there's a
Stalker
definite
got on
chance
her.
that
And
she
then, do you know
loves
how I would
him.
feel? I would feel completely destroyed. I would be like, oh my God, she killed herself because I was too weak to keep proving my love to her.
But why
She
is the
killed
only
herself
one
because I gave up, and that I could never live with this. I have a conscience. Yeah, I have a very good conscience, and I could never live with that. So the idea of quitting.
And he's also justified how, like,
ridiculous. And the fact that
consistently stalking her is like a it's morally righteous.
Clarity.
It's not even morally neutral. It's not even like he's doing it because he wants to, or he's doing it because, like, it could be up in the air. He just 100% is doing it because he thinks it's the morally righteous thing to do, which is interesting.
That's really bad. It's like,
Okay, wait. Let me tell you why I would quit personally. Because if I want clarity so much in a
You're weak.
relationship,
Because
that
you
person
are
never even
weak.
finish, then that person doesn't give me the clarity. This shows that there's already a difference in our communication style. Is that really someone you want to be with? Someone who doesn't even put in the effort.
I like
to
how
give you clarity.
aggressively he drinks that like orange Fanta or whatever.
this is the perfect point that you make, that there's a communication difference, because this is indeed an argument to say, hey, there's a communication difference. Maybe we're not so meant for each other, but remember, as long as there's no clarity, you cannot be sure if she likes you or if she doesn't like you.
What if she likes
And
you?
there is the chance
There
that-
could be a
there's the chance
communication
that if I
difference,
give
but
up-
because
if I
there's a
give up now,
communication
there is a
difference,
good
I don't know if
chance
there's a
not only
communication
will I
difference.
not get back my efforts, but there's a good chance that Nayeon will be disappointed, that Nayeon will be, oh my god, he doesn't love me anymore, and that she will be depressed, and maybe she gets depressed, and then I would be extremely sad.
Right, but haven't you thought about the fact that if she really loved you that much, then she wouldn't even have waited 3 years. She would have already quit it twice once she wouldn't even have renewed her contract. That means she loves you said that maybe she renewed the twice contract because of the other twice members, right? That means she cares about the other twice members more than you. This already shows she doesn't care that much about you. Right?
So what you would do is, you would quit, and you would go to Nayeon, and you would say, okay, repay me all my effort, I quit, this is it, pay me back my $3 million, I will go back to Germany, that's it. You would do this. You would be as weak as that, and you would say, okay, that's enough for me to quit the relationship. That's what you would do.
I wouldn't ask her to repay the money because I made the decision to do it. Maybe she didn't give you, maybe she asked you to do it, but at the end of the day, you cannot control your own life, and you chose to.
Listen. In her case, she asked for a boyfriend multiple times. There is a video, everyone who listens to this can look up on YouTube. Nayeon's message to future boyfriend, in which she clearly states that she wants a boyfriend and she wants the boyfriend to come quickly. But this is not the only time. She said in shows that she wants to date. She said many times that she's available. She even said in 16, before Twice even existed, that she's easy to date. She always presented herself available. She always said that she wants a boyfriend. And what did I do? I went to Korea and said, okay, you know what? I love her. I will make her happy. Here I am. And she never rejected me. And what she could have done, or what she should have done if she didn't like me, is she should have rejected me as soon as possible and said, hey, listen, Josh, listen, I lied. She should have said, I lied. I didn't want a boyfriend. I just did it to get more money, to present myself available, to get more fans attracted to me. I lied. I don't want a boyfriend. And then she could have said, listen, Josh, but I repay you your effort. You came
I mean,
all
they're
the way to
like,
South Korea for
the
me
thing is, like,
because
they're
I
constantly
made you
asked
your
that question all the
side
time too, like if they'd want a
available.
boyfriend, and most of the time they're just gonna say like, yeah, it's whatever.
I will repay you your flight. Go back to Germany. I'm sorry that I lied. I'm sorry that I said I want a boyfriend. When
I feel like a lot of them will just say, a lot of them will just straight up say no, like.
But instead, she keeps me on the line like a fish. She keeps saying she has to continuously work for it. She even goes to court and requests to withdraw the restraining order. She puts so many signals out there to say, keep working on it, Josh. If you continuously work for it, you will marry me. Continue to work for it. Okay, I am continuing to work for it. I am continuing to spend my money for it, but I am doing so by
a member of a
knowing,
K-pop
this will
group.
end with
Her
me
name's
marrying
Chaeryoung,
Nayeon,
and she
which is great because I love her, and she making her happy.
she was asked that question. She's like, "Nah, I really don't want a boyfriend." And the interviewer was like, "Really? Seriously? You're lying." She's like, "Nah, I 100% don't want a boyfriend." She's like, ask literally any idol, they all feel the same way.
Look it up online, and evolutionary that makes sense because who are the people who need to love in order to protect the family? The strong ones. The strong males have to protect the family, and the strong males have to be the ones that have to love the woman. So if the weak woman loves, it wouldn't take much, but if the strong man loves, then he can protect the family and thus ensure reproduction.
Like Nayeon is lying about being single. That's not my point, though. She might be single, but maybe she's just not.
What I'm saying is, you are talking about a topic. You're talking about love. Despite you most likely you probably have not been in love before, and you probably will
Nick,
never
why do I feel like you're
experience
coming in
true
this,
love because of your brain. And I'm not
coming
saying
in this
that to
world so you
insult
can
but
find my
evolutionary
place
just
and
it makes more sense.
plant
that males
dynamite
are more
everywhere.
prone to love and that shift in passion than women.
Okay, so first you say women are just emotional or they have no logic. Then now you're saying only men love. But isn't love an emotion? So you
Yes, in this case, love is an emotion to protect the family. Is a shift in passion, but. This is a long-term thing. Love is a long-term thing. What I mean with what I said earlier with emotions, women with emotions is short-term. There was talking about short-term emotions. They make short-term decisions based on emotions. Like basic example. When I say I do something next Monday, okay, and I feel shit, and I feel like shit next Monday, I will do it anyways because I'm responsible and I do not let myself guide my emotions. But if most girls say I do something on Monday, you cannot rely on them as much because they act more emotionally and they will, if they feel like shit on Monday, they might not do it. And that's just, I'm not saying that every girl is like that. I'm not sexist, but statistically, it just happens more often that women are more emotionally driven when it comes to such short-term
And then
decisions.
this when it kind of comes into like a, is it sexist or not?
For this interview, I was the one who had my schedule down. You were the one who said, "Oh, I don't know when I'm free. Oh, I might not be free at this time."
No,
Can you message me?
he's the one. Wait, there's another logical error. Look, guys, everyone who listens to this interview it's so funny because a lot of guys probably already know the logical error that you just did, but I will reveal it now. You were the one who wanted this interview. I don't even want this interview. I just told you here, I'm free there and there and there and there, and it's up to you. You can choose whenever you want. I'm there free.
She shows like the text they had, or at least like part of it, and
doesn't want, but you're saying women don't have the ability.
It's wrong. It's a in the logic. You just tried to tell me I'm not responsible.
and like
because
it doesn't
I
even
gave
really
you
prove
multiple times,
anything.
you gave
Like
me
it doesn't
the
prove
same
like
time,
he's
but I gave
like
you multiple times,
non-committal.
and you gave me
Like
the
it's
same
like
time because you are
whatever.
the one who wanted this interview.
Josh, you didn't give me a time. That's the problem. But
I
anyway,
told
okay, I
you
don't want to
free from then and then and then and then. I told you it's up to you. Well, you know what pisses me off the most is you gave me a distinct time and I was there at this distinct time. You said 6 p.m. KSP and I was there at 6 p.m. KSP. And the problem what I have is, and a lot of people might say, oh, Josh gets angry
Sick,
easily.
I have unhealthy
but
work
I'm
habits
actually
when
not
women
someone who gets
who
angry
don't are
easily
emotional.
by
Yeah, you
people
know.
insulting me. If people insult me, I do not get angry. But I get angry at irrationality. I get angry at stupidity. I get angry when I see people have been lazy. They have not exercised the logical thinking. And then I have to deal with people who have poor logical thinking because I have to deal with their stupidity. And that's what makes me angry. And I'm very allergic to irrationality. I'm very allergic to stupidity, and that's why I get angry so easily. So I'm not usually a guy that gets angry easily, but when I see irrationality, I'm not used to see irrationality. As I said in the beginning of this interview, I'm usually a person who hangs out with a lot of smart people, like Tim Dodd, Elon Musk, I even Jeff Bezos from time to time, but a lot of smart people who know how the world works and who know logic, and I'm used to those kind of people. But and a lot of great scientists as well. Sorry if I forget a lot of names. Richard Dawkins, shout out to Richard Dawkins, also a very great man. I learned a lot from Richard Dawkins. Very, very smart man. People should look up to him. But a lot of people, and I'm not used to rationality. But then I have, because of this K-pop incident, I have to constantly face irrationality, face people who have problems
Remy
with
Dunn
logic,
did it.
like you, like a lot of fans, and this is really triggering me because
you know,
it's
man.
really something that I'm allergic towards.
Okay, so look, I don't agree with you on that, but anyways, I don't want to. I feel like this is getting too emotional, and I'm not an emotional person, even though I'm a woman. So let's just move on to a less emotional topic. The last thing that I want to talk about is that you claim that Nayeon would definitely be happy knowing you, but like as you said yourself, K-pop is about selling love and friendship, right? You claim that you like Nayeon.
Partially, but also music and entertainment, but partially love and friendship, which is bad, yeah.
Yes, and then you said you like Nayeon because she's cheerful and happy, but then as you said, they sell this love and friendship. So how do you know that's her real personality? Because if
I know it because the question very well. I can answer this question as well very easily because when I was in the flight, for example, from Tokyo back to Korea, I hear her laughing. I hear her being very happy when she entered the plane, and she had the exact same personality that she showed in front of the camera. Obviously, sometimes she has to fake a personality in front of the camera because she might be tired sometimes, and she cannot show that she's tired. But
I think with
she is very similar in real life to how she is in front of the camera.
So I'm gonna.
She's very lively. She's very passionate, but she's also kind of smart. She's not like other women. She often tackles things.
I'm gonna say this. Maybe this is an unpopular opinion. I do think that a lot of people, including celebrities,
they shouldn't be trusted
like K-pop idols and stuff.
A year later, there might be a
I think that the personalities that you get from seeing them in like on like reality shows and like stuff they put forward, I think it's pretty genuine. Just for the sheer, especially with K-pop idols, the sheer amount of time they are in front of the camera. I mean, it would require so much effort for that to not be who you are to a large extent. Like, don't get me wrong, it's definitely like an over-exaggerated form of yourself, but 100%, like, it's at least representative of who you are. You at least, the way that people interact with them, like the other members do and stuff, like, you can pretty reasonably tell who they are. So when it's like, when I was on the flight, she acted like how she always does, and like, yeah, I believe that, but just because that's the case doesn't really mean anything.
So you, what I was talking earlier, and like people like you and some girls and stuff, they are more easily to let their emotions affect their decisions. In my case, I am a very emotional person, but I do not let my emotions affect my decisions.
Because of love, that's an emotion.
What?
The reason why you're in Korea, the reason why you spent 33 million euros.
Yeah, that's love. Yeah, that's a long-term emotion. That's about love. But love is a different thing from short-term emotional affected decision-making. I explained this earlier.
Yeah.
Love is a long-term thing. That's not something you do out of emotions. You do it out of emotions, but a different emotions. Okay. Love is a shift in passion. Love is is different from anger. It's
But
different from.
you excuse Christina Grimmie's murder because the person was angry in the moment. Isn't that a momentary decision?
No, it's not. He was not angry in the moment. He was angry that he put all this effort. He went through a hair transplant. He went through a lot of effort. He was angry that he did not get clarity, that he did not get rejected properly, that she did not. Christina Grimmie did not properly talk with him. Instead, she secretly dated someone else and later revealed the relationship. And he got angry because he felt cheated on. Okay, which is completely fine. But the decision to kill Christina Grimmie was not an emotional one, even though he was angry, but the decision was rationally correct. The decision was correct because he wanted justice, and the police wouldn't help him. So he regave justice. Well, it hurt him because he's now dead. It hurt her because she's now dead. But at least they have justice. Let me tell you a little story from the White Rose. If you care about history and if you educate yourself about history, there was a German group called the White Rose, and they also cared about justice. They thought, okay, justice is very important. And the Nazis that killed innocent Jews were bad people. And what the White Rose did is they put flyers everywhere and they told everyone, look, the Nazis are very bad people. Hitler is a bad person. And what happened to the White Rose? These people got beheaded by the Nazis. They got killed by the Nazis. Nowadays, they are looked upon as heroes because they spread the knowledge that the Nazis are bad, that Hitler is bad.
I don't know anything about what the White Rose. I have no idea what that
Well,
is.
it was a bad decision from them to distribute these flyers because now they got beheaded from the Nazis. But they didn't care. They were like, okay, so be it, and we get killed from the Nazis, but at least we regain justice. At least we fight for these innocent Jews that they killed, and that's always a decision you have to make. How much do you sacrifice your own life for justice? And what the guy with Christina Grimmie did is he sacrificed his entire life for justice, and I respect him for that. That he actually sacrificed his own life to regain justice, which is very, very respectful.
You believe in Christina, in what Christina Grimmie is doing. That means and what the guy who killed Christina Grimmie did. So you agree that he should have killed Christina Grimmie.
Just to not confuse any listeners. Technically, he did not kill Christina Grimmie. Christina Grimmie forced him. She was the bad person. Just so
I don't know what to say about that.
So in that case, if Nayeon started dating someone, then would you?
Listen. What I do not have belief. I only have fact, okay? And if a person like Christina Grimmie, for example, treats another person like shit for several years, does not talk with him, but then beats on that person, and that person does not get help from the police, then that person has two options. That person can either say, I suck it up, I continue to live my life, and I let this injustice happen, I let Christina Grimmie get away with the bad things she did, or that person says, you know what, I'm going to get my revenge, because she cheated on me, basically. She did not talk with me. Instead, she secretly dated someone else, and I regained justice. And what he did is, he did the second option. He said, I don't care about my well-being. I will just regain justice, even if that means my own life will be
So if Nayeon dated someone now, since you've already wasted so much time, so would you feel the same?
No, I did not. Listen, this is another misconception. I did not technically waste the money. Nayeon wasted the money because she's the one who's not clearly communicating. Because at the end of the day,
So
if Nayeon wants to date someone
basically
else,
saying
or
this
if
mirrors the
Nayeon wants to
situation
date
with
me,
Christina
she would
Grimmie,
have
which is
morally
very concerning.
repay my efforts to some extent because she does the mistake of not communicating back, which means
she's trying to,
she is wasting
like,
time right now.
and she's like clearly like trying to get him in like a gotcha. It's like, so you're saying that you would kill her, right? And she's like kind of like proud of that. It's like, I mean, that is pretty much what he's saying. Yeah, it's like, you shouldn't be like super like proud that you're tricking him into this. Like, you shouldn't trick someone who, I don't want to say you shouldn't, but you shouldn't feel like proud that you're tricking some guy who clearly has a entirely different moral system than you, to say like, so you're going to say this thing that goes against my moral system? It's like, yeah, of course he's going to say that. What does he care? In his eyes, it's the right thing to do. What, like, I don't know.
Now the flight, for example, costs a lot of money. The corona test, the time that I spent, the efforts that I spent, the letters that I made, all the money that I am spending is basically consumed by Nayeon. What I do makes Nayeon happy, and it doesn't make Nayeon happy, Nayeon's mistake, because she is consuming the money. She is basically making it hard and difficult, or gives me challenges and says, okay, if you pass the challenges, maybe we can end up together. And just for the listeners, that people do not get confused, I never waste money, okay? I invest my money well, and in this case, if Nayeon does not give me clarity, she is the one wasting the money if she ends up with someone else or says, oh, you know what, Josh, all your efforts was in vain. It was her bad, because she could have said that it's in vain much earlier, okay? So I am the one seeking out for communication. I'm the one in the airplane who's saying, hey, Tower, is the landing area free? Is the landing area free? She is the one. I make it very easy for her to communicate back to me. She is the one who's not communicating back. So in case she doesn't like me, in case she rejects me, in case she wants to date someone else, she wasted all this money. She would have
food prep.
pay me all the money, and the money that is lost, from society, because this money is lost from society, right?
That's
This
great,
money
Nick.
is wasted by Nayeon, not by me. This money is consumed by Nayeon, not by me.
Did he say food preps? Because if he said that, then
and Nayeon is consuming a lot of money by letting me in uncertainty.
Okay, so then
That would
let's
be a
say
funny
if-
argument,
since you
though, if he was
justified the
like,
death
yeah,
of
food
Christina
prep.
Remy, right? So then in that case, if
Clearly I
Nayeon
don't waste
rejects you
money,
now,
that's
would
why
you
it's
feel
her
like you're
fault.
justified in hurting her as well?
We live in different times. We have better legal systems now. We have constantly improving legal systems now.
Yeah.
And I trust into the police. I trust into the legal systems these days. That if Nayeon would
There's also
run away with my efforts,
point
okay?
earlier
If Nayeon takes someone else,
where she got a piece of paper and she started writing stuff down, and I'm pretty sure that was what she was doing. She was making a debate flow, which, you know, probably like it just shows that she's going into like full-on debate mode, which you're gonna get, but like it just doesn't feel like it's super productive for this type of conversation.
runs away with my efforts, never repays me my efforts. By the way, just to avoid any confusion, if Nayeon accepts me and marries me, obviously she doesn't have to repay anything because I truly love her, and then she can keep all my efforts. But in case she does date someone else, or in case she rejects me, only then she would have to repay some of the efforts because she could have rejected me much earlier. I'm an easy person to reject me, and because she made signals because she said I have to keep working on it, he has to continue his work of it. She made signals to request more efforts from me. So then she would have to repay some efforts, and I trusted to the police in the legal system that if I go to them, I explain them the situation. I explain them, look, Nayeon said here he has to keep working for it. Nayeon said here she wants a boyfriend. Nayeon even went to court to request a withdrawal restraining order. Nayeon gave me many signals that showed I have to continue to put in efforts, and she did not give me clarity. I asked for clarity multiple times. I'm pretty sure that the police and the court or the legal system will help me to get my money back, because they will understand that Nayeon just ran away with my efforts in this situation, if it even would come to the situation. But most likely Nayeon will accept me because she realizes through how many efforts I went, she realizes how much
absolutely
money,
insane.
how much efforts I did to prove my love to her. So most likely me and Nayeon will
If,
accept
like,
that. But even if not, then
all this
I will
actually
have to request
worked, and
money
she was
back,
like, you know
and I
what?
have to
You're
ask the
right.
police to help and the court for help. And then sadly,
How
the taxpayers,
nutter
the
buggers
Korean
would
and
that
German
be?
taxpayers have to probably repay the money, because I'm not sure if Nayeon will be able to repay the money or if Nayeon has to repay the money. It could well be that the court or police decides that the taxpayers instead have to repay the money. But then the money would just go to the taxpayers, which is kind of a shame. But it would not be the first time that a lot of money has been lost due to errors of especially females who did bad decisions. Because there was also a story, I don't want to go deep into it, but there was a story in Germany where a girl had conjoined twins, and she could have aborted her pregnancy, but she was too stupid to do it, and she got the babies, and then the babies got sent to Ben Carlson, which is like this neurosurgeon who is now a politician, and he separated the twins, but the twins both had severe brain damage after the surgery, and they were
I didn't remember that he talked about. I don't know that I caught that he was talking about Ben Carson earlier.
German taxpayers had to pay the surgery to help the conjoined twins, but German taxpayers also had to pay for the twins all the time, which is not the twins' fault. The twins also had to pay, sadly, because they were not healthy. I want every child to be healthy, and those conjoined twins were not healthy anymore because the mother made a stupid decision not to abort. And that's also why I want to give this to all the listeners right now. If you get pregnant, make sure that your fetus inside is healthy, because I do not want any child to be born unhealthy, because no child deserves to be unhealthy, okay? Every child deserves to have a healthy body,
And this
to
is
have a
just
healthy mind, to
completely-
have a healthy upbringing. I do not want
completely
aggressive
off the
parents.
deep
I do
end.
not want parents who neglect their children, and I do not want parents who disregard their fetus, and then their children get born unhealthy. I want healthy children, okay? That's a very, very important thing.
Okay, so can I speak now? I feel like you're using one or two examples of female incompetence to generalize all females. Furthermore, not only that, you're also like making generalizations about Asian women.
I'm not like all females, I'm like
I'm
average.
sure
I'm
Nayeon
not-
wouldn't like someone with these types of views. Also, most of her friends would be Asian.
You're putting something in my mouth that I never said. I never generalize women like that. I'm saying on average, okay, that's very important for all the listeners to know. On average, women make more mistakes than men. On average, of course, there are some men that are really stupid, and there are some women who are really smart. And I'm not sexist at all. I am in favor of disregarding gender at all costs. But just on average, it just shows statistically that women are more often prone to act emotionally or let their emotions affect their decisions.
What's that?
I'm also a very emotional person, but I do not let my emotions affect my decisions. That's a big difference.
Okay, well, I think you're an exception to your own rule. But anyways, I think that this conversation is getting very heated. So anyways, I wanted to thank you for your time. I just feel like, you know, you say that, oh, it's psychopathic to give up and all that, but I feel like there are other women in this world
Thought I
who
heard
would
someone in my
probably
chat
be
for
more
a second.
communicative, live closer to you, and would be put in more effort into the relationship. And I feel like if you actually invested your time in women who could give you these values that you're looking for, you would be much happier and you wouldn't have spent this
Yeah, that's very result-oriented. In mathematics, you learn to never think result-oriented. You always go by the expected value, okay? And just because in this case the result is that I still do not have communication, because remember, she could have given me communication at any time. It was not, the result was not clear. The expected value was very good. What I did was very good. You cannot say, hey, I'm result-oriented. In your case, it did not work out. Thus, you made the wrong play. You made the wrong decision. I did the correct decision. I put... Huh?
If I was Nayeon, I would be afraid to meet you because you're justifying violence. You're justifying asking her back.
No, I'm not justifying violence. I'm just listen. You're again putting me in a bad light. Listen, if you have cancer, okay? For example, you have cancer. Do you know what chemotherapy is? Do you know what chemotherapy is?
Of course, I'm a pharmacist.
Yeah, that's good. That's great, because what
And now he's going off like this really like
some of the good cells, but also attacks especially the cancer cells, and tries to get
barely
rid of
see the
cancer cells. But
connection
why do we want
here.
to get rid of the cancer cells? Because we want the patient to survive. But the cancer cells, they're not necessarily bad. They're just killing the patient, and that's why we need to rescue the patient, right? And that's why we have to do chemotherapy, and that's why we have to pluck weeds in the garden, because weeds sometimes drag too many nutrition away from other plants, and that's also why we have here in our society, in humanity, when there are people out there who cause harm, like Christina Grimmie did by not communicating and presenting herself available and stuff like that, or like other people. If they cause harm and harm, maybe sometimes
it's interesting because I think this mentality comes from the fact that I don't think he. I don't think he's seeing death as like a super negative thing. I think that he's kind of seeing death as like kind of like this kind of consequenceless action that people take.
To save the most amount of people, but at the
I don't think he's putting together. He's like, what's worse is someone going through like this emotional pain than they are like dying. I feel like that's what he's saying. Like he accepts that it's like the ultimate consequence that someone can have, but I don't think that he accepts the fact that like it's bad, I guess.
This was without maybe Stalker efforts here, I repay your efforts or whatever, but letting him in uncertainty and then secretly dating behind his back is crazy. It's fucking crazy what she did. She literally forced him to kill her. She is the culprit. Like, imagine someone doing this. This is insanity. To secretly date while someone else is keeping like giving you flowers. He's keeping efforts, and you accept his efforts. You're like, okay, I'm not saying anything.
That's
and then
not
secretly
insane.
dating, that's so unfair. That's so crazy. That's so immoral. That's so criminal.
If there was a girl that I liked,
For those people who are listening, never cheat.
and this may or may not have happened before. There was a girl that I liked, and I kept showing her affection and time, and like, you know, bought her things and all this sort of stuff. And then, you know, we weren't dating, and then eventually she dated someone else. I'd be like, oh, this sucks. I mean, my thought would be like,
It's
you
not
know,
cheating because she never made a commitment. And by
I'm
that
not.
logic, you're saying Nayeon is
I can't think of the nicest way to say it. It's like, I'm not quite particularly fond of this person anymore. And I would just kind of like sit there like, okay, well, clearly this wasn't meant to work out. I wouldn't think like, okay, well, this justifies like her dying. It'd be like, you know, she doesn't owe anything to me. Even if she was like, oh, I'm single, blah, 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 blah. And like, I'm like, okay, you're single? Well, I'm single and I like you. We could make you not single. And she's like, well, I don't really want to be with you. It's like, okay, whatever. Or she could just not say anything and then eventually move on to someone else, I guess would be the more accurate equivalent here. And then it'd be like, oh, that sucks. I wish we had communicated better, but it wouldn't be like, guess you should die now.
I'm running away with another guy. Of course these 10 guys will be fucking angry because they put a lot of time and effort in the relationship.
They will, like, and that's the thing, they'll be angry, but that doesn't justify
present yourself available
killing.
if you are not available, and if you present yourself available, if you say, hey, I want a boyfriend, and there is someone who shows effort, then you either accept these efforts and say, okay, that's really nice of you, or you say, hey, you're not my type or whatever, but here's a clear rejection. Never let him, like a fish on the fishing line, and then years later say, aha, I'm running away with a different guy, because that's insanity. You're wasting so much time and effort of that innocent guy
that meant well, that went through emotional difficulties because she fell in love and stuff like this, always communicate clearly. It is insanely irresponsible, it is insanely criminal to not communicate properly in such a situation. And that you even think it is appropriate to ignore someone in such a situation that put the time and effort, years and years, millions of dollars, into proving that he loves someone, and not giving
I think
him
this is around the
like,
point of the conversation where she realized she bit off more than she could chew, talking to someone who is, for all intents and purposes, not mentally well.
To let him like a fish on the fishing line is completely criminal. It is completely out everyone's mind. It is worse than murder. It is by far worse than murder. It is so cruel. It is so cruel. Never, guys. Everyone who listens, always communicate, always exchange information. Never let someone in mentality. Never, please, never let someone on the fishing line. Okay? Never. Okay? Communication is the most important tool that we humans have, and that's also why we all need to learn English, because English is a universal language, and it will help us all humanity to come together and communicate with each other without language barriers. Okay?
Also, a lot of these sound like, white nationalist talking points. I'm not saying he's that, but saying things like everyone needs to learn English. It's like,
let them know what you truly think about them and what their efforts truly do. Because if their efforts are in vain, if they are useless, tell them so that they do not waste any time. Okay? Always communicate. And this girl right there that you are watching right now, she is not really smart. If you listen to her and you think she's smart, maybe educate yourself and maybe you realize that this girl you're listening to right now, what's her name again? Evangeline. Yeah, Evangeline. She's not that smart. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I just think that you are ignoring several points again, which is that first thing you assume, as a scientist, you can never assume that you're the only one in this world who cares about Nayeon. I'm pretty sure she gets thousands of
I looked around, I opened my eyes, I looked around, I looked everywhere. I said, hey guys, is there anyone who loves Nayeon as well? Because that's really an important thing to know. Not just for me, but also for the other guy. If there is another guy that loves Nayeon as much as me, then it's insanely important that we get together and we find a solution that both can live with, because obviously, if there's another person that loves Nayeon as much as me, then communication is very important that we can find a solution. Like, oh shit, we both love Nayeon, but there's only one Nayeon, what do we do now? Well, we have to find a solution. And that's why I looked everywhere. So people who truly love Nayeon as much as me, and no one can find anyone. And the second thing is, if there is someone who truly loves Nayeon, then he would have seen my channel, my YouTube channel, because he would also have looked, and then he would have seen, oh, there is already someone who loves Nayeon, and then he would have contacted me and said, hey bro, we have a problem because I truly love Nayeon.
Hey bro, we have a problem.
But it's never happened, and that's how I know scientifically. In reality, 100% that I'm the only one who truly loves Nayeon right now.
Okay, well, if that's the case, anyways, I don't think we can agree on this. So it was interesting talking to you, and thank you for spending your time talking to a stupid woman like me. So, anyways.
Well, always educate yourself, also the viewers who are listening, and remember, not all education is equally valid. There is some education that is more important than other education. For example, science, technology, chemistry, things like that are very important for human progress, and other education like learning a lot of different languages, like French and stuff like this, is not really important, because we need to focus ourselves on English anyway, on one universal language, because if everyone learns the same language, we can all as humanity communicate well with each other. So don't waste your time on French, don't waste your time on other languages.
I hate to sound this because it sounds really cringe, but that comes from a really based perspective, or not based perspective. That comes from a really privileged perspective. That's what I meant to say.
I love progress, I love technology, and we
to say like
to keep the progress going.
Everyone should just learn English. It's like,
thank you so much for your time, and let's end on a positive note. So,
I mean, maybe if there was one universal language, that'd be good.
Thank you for watching. If you found this video interesting,
okay. It's like, yeah, maybe it would be good to learn one universal language, but you know what? Not everyone in the world's gonna be able to do that. So, realistically, if you want to be able to communicate with other people, you're gonna have to learn other languages, because not everyone in the world is gonna have the ability to learn, English. Just because it's not available to them, or it's not like the language that's used in their community. And they have far more things that are important for them than to learn a second language that they will probably never need to apply. So, it's neither here or there. But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting debate. That I love Twice. Huge fan. And when I found out about that guy, and I found out like the videos he was posting, and the fact that he was like, getting really close to like someone that, who like, despite what he might think, can pose a pretty serious threat to them if he's justifying why he can murder her. It's really unnerving. I remember the first time that I saw it, I was like, kind of, or not that, but the first time I heard about him, I was really like, I was kind of freaked out. It like really shook me. I was like, this is just really like, it just seemed really intense for some reason. That being said, even though I agree that he's wrong on everything he said, what he said was actually like super monstrous. If you're gonna engage him in conversation, it should be to learn more about like his perspective more so than to argue with him, because I just don't think you can argue with him. At least not from like this sort of debate tactic sort of perspective. You have to really try to understand where he's coming from, and I don't think she did that. Which, like, I understand. A lot of people don't like trying to engage with people that way. People, I'm not saying like people don't want to. Well, actually, no, I take that back. A lot of people just don't want to understand one another. And I get it. Sometimes that can be hard. Sometimes it can be kind of effed up. But I would 100% be willing to talk to you, Josh, if you wanted to more effectively get your points out there. I promise you I will not structure it like a debate, because clearly that would be pretty pointless. But yeah, I'm also like 90% sure he wouldn't come on and talk to me anyway, which is fine. I'm not losing sleep over that. But I do hope all the girls, not just Nayeon, stay safe, because it's apparently a pretty crazy world out there. You know what I think's the funniest thing about all this? That, like, you know, like, I get where, like, this guy's coming from, because, like, I understand the fact that you think that a K-pop idol might love you. Like, I get it, because, like, you know, sometimes they'll marry people. Like, Mina's definitely gonna marry me, so, like, I get totally where he's coming from, but you know, it's not for everyone, man. It doesn't happen for everyone. It just happens for people like me, you know? get out of here. Come on. All right. I wonder how many people after that video like actually like came up to him and said, "You know what, bro? I am in love with Nayeon." And he'd be like, "What have you done for her? I've done more for her than her family's done for her." It's like, okay. It's like, well, that's true. Don't really know how to combat that, you know? Who's playing tonight? It's the Broncos and like the Colts? Yeah. Okay. I miss you, Ganachine. Nicola. Do 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 do. Thought about playing Overwatch 2, but apparently that game is having one hell of a launch so far. And it's been servers have not been holding up well. Read on Reddit that it's came from a DDoS that it was DDoS attacked or something. That's why it was performing so poorly. Of course it is. Because of course it is. Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't someone DDoS Activision when they're releasing Overwatch 2? Literally just trying to get stuff so I can smelt it. It's the only thing I want it for. Okay, I was like, which way do I want to go? We are close for like the 500th time of actually getting to the level that we want to be at. Will it ever happen? Probably not. The last time I died was like level 27. And it all disappeared. Of course it's raining, why wouldn't it? One day I'll organize my stuff a little bit better. That day is not today. Such a dope spot. Like, it really is. You can see like every type of terrain from here. It's so cool. Alright. I will be logging off, my guys. I'll talk to everyone later. I'll probably try to stream tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see what happens.